What's going on, everybody? It is your humble YouTube live stream host, Tim, back with another stream. Earlier in the day, I've been coming on later in the evening, but I was like, let me come on earlier in the day. Maybe I know a lot of people say that they get bored at work, they want something going on in the background, or they're at home doing chores. It's nice to have just something on in the background they can listen to, help them get through the day. I don't mind being that monotone, monotonous voice in the background that helps you out. I don't mind that. I'll take that. I'll take that. And speaking of work, speaking of work, that's what we're going to speak on today. That's what we're going to speak on today. I did a stream last night. Your boy's been streaming like every day, pretty regular. I did a stream last night and got a lot of questions about 9 to 5 working, things like that. So I was like, let's do a whole stream, you know? Let's do a whole stream and let's just talk about work. Is work even worth it anymore? Okay. Work just seems like it ain't working out no more. Is it even worth it anymore? And if not, like what's the solution? Okay. Because it's easy to be like, man, this is broken. But how do we fix it? So I wanted to tap into that. Want to tap into that. I'm gonna say what's up to a few people. Can't say what's up to everybody. Just the first few people coming on. We got that girl, Tori's life, um, Dion Sardines, Daniel and Dylan. Appreciate y'all hitting the like button, by the way. That really helps the stream. Mark, Cookie Monster, Doopy, that boy. My background is black and white because the place I'm staying is black and white. Um, Marcus, EB23 checking in. Alex, yeah, my background's back in black and white because it is. I mean, I actually think it's pretty cool. I think it kind of looks good. Anyway, so I feel like there was a time in not too distant history. I feel like there are people alive who there was a time when, like, if you asked them this question, for example, if I asked my dad, you know, when he was my age, is work even worth it? I imagine he would be like, yeah. And I imagine everyone in that generation in that time would probably be like, yeah. Work may not have been the most enjoyable. You know what I mean? Work may not have been the bee's knees for everybody, but I think they would have said their work was worth it, you know. But fast forward now, I think we have a combination of not only do people not enjoy their job, not enjoy their work, which has probably been a staple for since the Industrial Revolution, but not only is it that people don't enjoy the work, but now a lot of people are really saying, like, is it even worth it anymore? People are getting to the point where they're like, it's really not even benefiting me to get up and go to this job, and I think that's something new. When you have people working very hard at jobs they don't like and still not able to make ends meet, and they feel like they're broker at the end of the week than if they just like sat at home and collected a check or something, you know what I mean? When you have people really questioning, is it even worth it for me to get up, spend an hour or so getting ready, the hour and a half commute to work or the 45-minute commute to work, go to work, deal with these people doing this job I don't like. I only get a 30-minute lunch from 12 to 12:30, and I'm a grown up. They tell me I get a 30-minute, then I got to deal with them people again after lunch. Then I got a 45-minute commute home. Then I'm wiped out for the evening. I don't really get any quality time. And then I got to do that 5 days a week, sometimes six. And then when it's all said and done, I got $100 left at the end of the week. And I think that scenario is something new. I think in the past we might have had that same scenario or similar, but it was like at the end of the week, I got good money left over. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. It just feels like work just isn't the same. Even for someone who started working in the late '90s, I started working. It just even seems different for me. The work environment seems to have changed it just in that 20, 30 years or whatever, 25 years or whatever. work just doesn't seem to be the same anymore. I mean, it seems like employers care even less anymore. Benefits packages have gotten worse. There's no pensions, no no retirements anymore. They replaced that with 401ks, and 401ks aren't don't even really have like the match anymore. Remember when he was like, "Oh, for every dollar you put in your 401k, we'll match it with a dollar." Now they're like, for every, it's a 1% match or some craziness. So if I put in $100, y'all put in $1. Why am I giving y'all my money anyway? You know what I mean? It just seems like any arena you look at within the workplace, it's gotten worse, and the pay has stayed about the same, which means it's gotten worse. Because if the cost of living goes up, but your pay doesn't go up, even though you're still making the same amount of money, you're making less. And I think the fact that there are, and we're going to get into these later, I want y'all's input on this. There are alternatives to the 9 to 5, I think is what really makes it worse because we're like, we see other people not doing it. And then you're like, oh, but are the alternatives viable for everyone? You know? And I do think that the pandemic was a turning point because it gave a lot of people time off from work. If you've been working and you've been in the corporate environment or retail environment or whatever you were in since like 19 or since like your early 20s, even though you might not totally like it, that's all you knew. You give somebody and you get used to it. You get used to grumbling, you get used to whatever, you get used to that pattern. Oh, I know come May I get my vacation, come Christmas I get time off. But you give that person 4 months away from that, and people start to look at stuff different. You know what I mean? Give somebody 4 months with pay away from their job, and you gave them the opportunity to like spend time with their loved ones. For some people, that was the longest amount of time they've spent with their family ever. I mean, think about that. Think about that. For some people, those 3, 4 months they were furloughed or whatever was the longest continuous time they have spent with their family ever. Now, for some people, that was a nightmare. They was like, if this job don't call me to come back, I'm gonna kill these kids. But for a lot of people, it's like, wow, okay, so this is living. Oh, this is living. I get to go to bed when I want, kind of wake up when I want, like go out and do things I want. I got time to read, to clean, to you know what I mean? Like, and I think when we started having to go back to work, even though that's been 2, 3 years now, I think we never forgot them good old days when we was furloughed, you know? And that's why you see a lot of people went remote after that. A lot of people was like, I'm not trying to go back to the office because oh, okay, we'll ease people back in remote work. And then the company's like, all right, y'all come back to the office. And people's like, no, I like doing my work in my bonnet and my slippers with no shirt on for the dudes. Or hey, like, you know what I mean? Like people's like, nah, I like this. I like being at the house, which is why like commercial real estate is plummeting. It's interesting. If you ever want something interesting to look up, like the commercial real estate market. I think there's some interesting investment opportunities in there too. Uh, but the commercial real estate market is plummeting because nobody's going back to work. Like office space, everybody wants to be at the house. So I think work itself is changing. Work is changing, and maybe that will lead to some of the changes we need to take place. But I feel like for so many people, you know, it's just not working no more. And there's no hope. That's the problem too. I think most people have very little hope, which is weird because there are so many alternatives. But still, so I think so many people, it's just people see like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something drastic on my own because left to their own devices, these companies aren't going to improve the work environment for us. I think that's why there's no hope. There was a time when people thought their employers cared. And there was a time, I think, when employers did care. Because I think there was a time when employers had to care. Because if you didn't care, your employees would go somewhere where they did. Because there were enough employers that cared. Now, employers not caring is like the norm. There's a lot of people who are taught to like, man, you gotta treat your employees like crap. That's the only way you can make a profit. That's the only way you can buy. That's just the norm. And employers know, like, yeah, you can go down the road, but they probably gonna treat you just like we do, if not worse. And so as an employer, just like, you run into enough jobs like that, it's like, if nobody cares about their employers, like their employees, excuse me, well, what do I do? Hey, we got a super chat here. Dion Sardines. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Says, I don't mind my 6 to 2, Tim. It could be worse. I have a good job, work-life balance right now. Hey, that's amazing. That's amazing. Glad to hear that. And I like hearing comments like that to let people know there is hope. You know what I mean? So hey, if you find some type of work, 6 to 2, not whatever you're doing, and you like it and it gives you a good work-life balance, hold on to that. You know what I mean? Hold on to that because I'm definitely not anti-work. Um, I wish we all had that situation. I wish all of us who wanted to work for someone had that situation to where it's like, I don't mind, you know, a job that doesn't weigh heavily on your mind, a job that you don't wake up in the morning like, oh, a job that you're not wiped out. Because the thing is, like, even if you work hard, I've noticed this. Even when I work physically hard, when it was at a job I enjoyed, I wasn't as wiped out at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's like that mental stress and strain that like destroys you. You could be physically wore out. You get home, you're like, man, I gotta sit down for a minute. But it's not as bad as when you get like mentally drained. You gotta sit down all night. You're just like, man, I'm done. I can't. You just veg out to some Netflix. You know what I mean? That mental draining is way worse than the physical. So if you have a job you like and it's not as mentally draining, it's like you said, better work life balance. Because even when you're off work, you're not drained and like it's not still living rent free in your mind, for the rest of the night. So yeah, I do think one of the things that has to change is the way employees are treated. You know, I think that is something that has to change. I think that's the big issue. Um, I also think if we started teaching the kids to find a job they enjoyed more than the job that paid the most money, I think if there was more equality in pay in different jobs, which when I start talking about that, people will look communism. That's not what I'm saying. But I just wish there was an environment where the employer still cared about the employee. They wanted to give you a livable wage. They wanted to give you promotions and raises. They wanted to give you good health care. Even if it was like, hey, currently we can't, this is the best we can do, but as soon as we can, we're going to do better. It's not like that now. Now it's like, hey, what's the crappiest healthcare plan we can give these people, if they even refer to us as people? What's the least we can pay these people and keep them still coming in? In fact, the goal, I think it's like, hey, the less we pay them, the more dependent they are on us, so they got to keep coming to work. We start paying them more money, they start saving money, investing money, they may stop coming to work. We got to give them less money. So that's where that change that happened. I think it started happening around 80s when a lot of this financial stuff started to change. I think it's got us in the environment we're in now, where so many people are like, bro, it ain't worth it. You know what I mean? Like it's just not worth it. And I laugh when I say that, but it's not funny. It's not funny. It is not right for anyone to work 40 plus hours a week and come home and be worried about money unless they're doing craziness with their money. And sometimes we do. But anybody who works a 40 plus hour week should be able to pay for a modest living and have health care and get like 3 weeks of vacation. But we'll talk about that later. You know, you should not, especially if it's two of you and your husband, you and your wife, you and your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. If two of y'all is working 80 hours of work hours of paid work coming in a month, a week, excuse me, y'all shouldn't be struggling unless you're making bad money decisions. But people like, bro, we out here working and pinching the pennies, and like it ain't just the math ain't mathing on these bills. Like, how as an employer can I know that and sleep at night? You know what I mean? Like that, I don't understand that. Like I've worked for bosses, small companies, small businesses who took pride in, I want to pay y'all a good wage. And they were the one, like I always say, I had One of the best situations I ever had, boss asked me, "How much money do you think you should be making? Is it time for you to get a raise? How much money do you think you should be making?" He's like, "Because I want to put you in this equation. I don't just want to give you a raise." And I bid too low because he said yes immediately. I was like, "I'll take this much." He was like, "Cool." And I was like, "Dang it, I could have went higher." But I always appreciated that he asked me, gave me exactly what I wanted, and he took pride in the fact that and what I asked for was good. It was good. But like he took pride in the fact that 'cause he was the one that like I was driving this crappy car. Hey, country boy, I got you. I got you. Um, soon as I finish this story, I was driving this crappy car, and he was always like, "Why you don't get a better car?" And I'm like, "Why you care what I drive?" And he was like, "Because people know you work for me, and I don't want them thinking that like I'm not paying you enough money to get a better car." He's like, "I know I'm paying you enough to get a better car," and I was like, "Bro, I just drive crappy cars." I was like, but that made me feel good, that he cared. But I was like, sorry if it's making you look like you're not paying me. I just only drive hoopties. At the time, I only drove hoopties. It was bad. Like I had the hood. The hood was latched down with a bungee strap. There were dents. It was a POS. But I only paid what $1,200 for it. So anyway, Country Boy, 1995. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Super Chat Squad. I appreciate the love. Thank you so much. It says, my job gave us a 5% raise this year, but has treated us 10 times worse this year. Wow. Applying for jobs with Corex yesterday. We'll be applying for more jobs this week. Yes, yes. I'm not yesing to the 5% raise. These percent raises have got to go. These percent raises. Appreciate the love, Q Boy. Super Chat Squad. Thank you. These percent raises have got to go. Now, if they gave you like a decent percent, but these little 1%, these percent raises got to go. Remember when they just gave you a number? Hey, we're giving you a $2 raise. We're giving you a dollar. No, this percent stuff, they did that so they could give us less raises. And then they throw it in your face all year. Oh, we gave y'all a 5% raise. We're going to need 25% increase in production, or there won't be any more raises. You're like, there barely was a raise this year. Stop. Like, you know what I mean? But hey, CoolWorks is definitely an alternative. Um, I'm not going to say jobs on CoolWorks are perfect, but there are some good companies on there. But I do like the fact that it's temporary. So that's something I enjoy about it is I can get in there, work my little season, and I'm out. If I like the place, I come back. If I don't, well, I don't come back. So yeah, thank you so much, Country Boy. Lucinda got a 2% raise that didn't even cover the increase in your insurance. That's what I'm saying. Like insurance goes up, then we'll give you a raise to like even if it did, that's not a raise. Even if it did, that's not a raise. You can't raise you can't raise a bill and then give me some money to cover that. And no, like no, a raise. Like if my insurance raises, I should get that covered and then more. You know what I mean? And why is our insurance going up? This is a side note, but so many things are getting more expensive that don't need to get more expensive. There's so much greedflation going on. Okay, there's inflation, there's deflation, there's greedflation. I think I coined that phrase. If not, I'm still taking credit for it today. Um, Greedflation is where people see some stuff going up that might need to go up, and then they just raise their prices and just say it's inflation. It's inflation. Eh, had to go. But it's a lot of stuff. You're like, did that really get more expensive? Did it really get more expensive for me to go see a doctor? What's increased? Unless it's the doctor's salary, which their salaries probably didn't either. You know what I mean? But like, what increased? Why does my insurance have to go up? Oh, it's more expensive to do what? You know what I mean? Explain it to me. Why is it suddenly more expensive to get an MRI? It's the same machine as it was last year. Does it take more electricity to run you know what I mean? Like this is saying all this greedflation, they just raising prices on stuff just because they can. Don't get me started on Dollar Tree, $1.25 tree. It'll watch it be $1.30 soon. Anyway, so there's a lot of inflation, but there's also a lot of greedflation. But our wages aren't going up to match that. So not only are things costing us more, but cost of living goes up, inflation goes up, wages stay the same or go up 2%. We're losing more and more money. and no one seems to care. I think that's the big part too. Like no one seems to care. There was a time when people cared. Appreciate y'all hitting the like button. Thank y'all. I feel like there was a time when people cared. Eventually, you could find an employer that cared, and there are some employers out there that care. But and here's the thing too. I feel like a lot of companies, now we have the corporatization of almost everything in America. A lot of companies to stay competitive had to stop caring because one of the biggest costs a company has is labor. And so if your competitor is paying their people peanuts, granted, a lot of those people might come to you if you're paying better, but it'll get to a point where that company is more competitive because they have way less labor costs than you. That kind of incentivizes even a company that did care to over time start paying less or not giving out as many raises because they're like, hey, I can't stay competitive. That company's paying their people peanuts. They're making way more profits. You know what I mean? They can get their products and services cheaper, because they're not paid as much labor. So even some companies, I think, that cared in order to stay afloat, to compete with the scummy companies, have to kind of do scummy things. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it just seems to be the norm. But for me personally, I don't think it's sustainable. Like everything goes to balance. And I think that's why we're starting to see more and more people just like, I'm just not doing it. More and more people looking for alternatives. I feel like people have always looked for alternatives. But I think now, more and more people is like, I'm trying to go remote. I'm trying to start my own business. I'm just not going to work. It was just, it was just like, I'm just not going to work. I'm going to get a check. You know what I mean? Like more and more people just being like, people who before would have like, man, yeah, I definitely want to work. Are just like, I'm not doing this. Like, why am I? But tell me why. Tell me why I should keep doing this. Give me a reason. Give me one more reason, and I'll stay. you know. I'm looking at some of these comments here because I feel like there were some really good comments, and I want to involve y'all in this one. I'm gonna go back up to the top, get some of these comments real quick. Um, Appreciate y'all coming through. We hit 100 likes already, just about 10 minutes in. Um, yeah, Spencer, I really feel for the younger generations, um, because for me, in the people, they're in the middle age, 40s, whatever. Like we came in, it was different. It was okay. So we've seen that world. For the people like your age, just coming into the job market, getting jobs, this is the norm for y'all. This is crazy. For y'all to come in and it just be, a lot of us, we've had time to do whatever in the old system. But for y'all coming in and it's like this, that bothers me. That it's just like y'all coming into work and everybody's still pushing the same message: go to school, get a great job. You're like, where are the great jobs? Even the people who went to school, a lot of them are like, where are these great jobs y'all are talking about? What you know what I mean? That's why I say like the messaging needs to change. We've been preaching the same messaging since they was talking about in the 60s. It's probably even got louder. Go to school, get a great job. You like school's too expensive and I don't see no great jobs. So what are you telling me? What are you telling me? My messaging now would be, hey, if you want to go to college and you have a career that you think you can make it in, go. If not, you need to double down on these trades because they hiring and they have to pay decent because no one wants to do them, and they have to treat their employees halfway decent because they ain't struggling. Go down there to the local plumber and be like, hey, you need some help? They'd be like, when can you start? We'll train. We'll train you. I'm telling you, jobs like that. I'd be like, hey, go into the trades or, really, really start researching this AI stuff. Huh? Start looking into this AI stuff because that's where the money's going to be. This whole go to school, get a good job in tech. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I feel for the young people who this is all they know. This is the work environment they know. But honestly, I feel like that someone like yourself who's 22, 10 years from now, when you're 32, if this work environment hasn't changed, when y'all start getting really burnt out, because like y'all are getting into it now and it sucks, but you're not burnt out yet. When y'all, this generation now, who this is all they know, gets 10 years in and they get really burnt out, and they're like, that's when you'll really see some radical change, I think. Because y'all gonna be like, nah. If it hasn't changed by then, because AI might play a part in the changing of work. I don't know. But if it hasn't changed by then, y'all gonna be like, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. No. Like I said, the system always eventually corrects itself because people stop putting up with it. It's just a matter of when, you know. Doopy said buy Bitcoin, move out the country. Well, people like, I ain't got money to buy Bitcoin. I'm not saying that I endorse that strategy personally, but um, people like, I ain't got no money left over to buy Bitcoin. so, so, so that takes money. People like that takes money to buy Bitcoin, move out the country. What are you talking? Once again, I'm not endorsing that strategy. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just copying what someone said. Mike A said delivery jobs. Yeah, uh, I've been a big proponent of gig jobs since not since they started, but probably since I like the 20, it was probably like, was it 2020, 2019, 2020. I tried Instacart for the first time and was able to make some decent money on the side. I've been a big proponent of them ever since then. And I know the landscape of certain gig jobs changes. Some come, some go. But I travel a decent amount around the country, and I always try to talk to my Uber drivers. Hashtag only use Uber. Um, I oops. Hashtag I oops. But and I always talk to my Uber drivers and try to get. My first question is always like, "Hey, good day today." And people like to talk about what they do for a living, and I'm curious. So it's rare. Every now and then I'll find a Uber driver who's like, "Yeah, it sucks out here." For the most part, most of them have been like, "Yeah, it's pretty good." So that's all. That lets me know like, it's okay. It was funny. My Was he the guy who dropped me off here? Hmm. One of my last Uber drivers. Um, it was crazy. No, no, no. It was in San Diego. One of my last Uber drivers, we got to talking, and this has nothing to do with the stream, but I thought it was funny because he was like, "Oh yeah, I went to school at so and so," and he's like, "I'm an engineer, I'm in tech, I'm an engineer, blah 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 blah," and I'm like, and he was like, "Oh, I just drive," and this is why the story stuck with me. He was like, because he was probably 50, mid 50s. He was like, "Yeah, I don't have any family." He was like, "I don't have any kids." He was like, "So I just drive Uber because I'm bored." He was like, "All I do is drive," because he was in a Tesla, and he was like, "I bought the Tesla to drive around because I'm bored." And he was like, "I might as well just like make some money too." So I thought that was funny that he just like whenever he was bored, he would just get on Uber and drive people around. He's like, "I just bought this car to drive around." I just thought that was hilarious. But my point was, I think these gig jobs still a good way to supplement the income because the people who do have money still, we lazy. When we got money, we lazy. So we still order DoorDash out here. You know, D said I hate working any type of structured work, I guess, because it's unfulfilling, boring. Starting a business is expensive, and this world is a stage. Yeah, the structure part is what always gets me. Jobs where I've had a lot of freedom to kind of do what I want have always been better for me. When it's like, this is what you got to get done, go get it done. We don't care. I've always enjoyed jobs like that. When it's very much so like we're watching your every move, you have to do it this way. This is when you can take a break. This is when you can go to lunch. This is all that. I'm like, because I'm the type. Hey, tell me what to do. I'll get it done, bro. But you tell me how to do it and when to do it. It's not the same. So yeah, um, I do think depending on the type of business you want to start, it is way less expensive these days to start a business. I mean, the internet changed that. There's so many businesses you can start on the internet for free or $100. You know what I mean? But not everybody wants to do an online business, and there's so many scams out there. But I do think overall it is cheaper to start a business now, but that can be expensive. Yes. Um, yeah. In Germany and a lot of places in Europe, you saying companies give you the option to work 4 days. I do think that's something that even here in the states is one of the things that's going to start to change, and I think they're going to have to do that to address people wanting more. I was actually just watching a video about this. There's a new feature on here and I'm not going to do it today, but we'll try it in a maybe sometime this week. There's a feature where you can share your screen on here. So I'm thinking I might be able to like share my screen and we can watch video clips together, you know? Like why couldn't I have YouTube on my screen and then we just kind of watch a video together? I don't know if the sound would work. If I share my screen, will the sound come through, I wonder? I'll have to try it out. We'll have to try it out one day. Um, but because every now and then there'll be a video like that would be a cool video to watch. Is the one I was watching about the 4-day work week. But I do feel like the 4-day work week is something that is going to start being incorporated into companies more because that'll be a way to like, hey, if you bust out all your work in 4 days, you get 3 days off. And even though for some people that'll mean working harder in the 4 days, I think I know personally I would take that trade. And then it feels your work life. I don't even like saying work life balance because it should be life and work is a part of it. But the work life balance is a lot better when you've got 3 days off, you work 4 days, as opposed to 5 and 2, which is crazy. Who came with 5 and 2? Like 2 days we get to ourselves, five we give the. It's crazy. Five we give to the company. It's crazy. So I do think the 4-day work week is going to start being incorporated more. And a lot of the studies show the 4-day work week, people are just as productive because there's a lot, especially when you don't like your job. There's a lot of times where, let's be honest, that first hour of work ain't a lot getting done. That 30 minutes after lunch, and sometimes the 30 minute before, you're kind of winding down, gearing back up. The last hour, but when you tell people, hey, you get this all done 4 days, you get 3 days off, people are a lot more likely to just get in there and get to it. So I think that's something that can be used. Yeah. Tam was on medical leave, soreness went away, enjoyed the time off, didn't want to go back. Yeah, I think it's more and more people, you know, you give people a chance to see freedom, it's hard to put them back on the plantation. You know, it's hard to put them back on the plantation. Michael had to retire, get off that hamster wheel. Felt like he was just running, running, running to serve others, barely keeping your head above water and bills wise. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you're on the hamster wheel but your money's good, then you're kind of like, it's still not optimal, but it's like, well, at least I see the payoff. I'm running constantly on this hamster wheel, but my bank account's nice. But when you're constantly on the hamster wheel and like you don't see it's like, but I'm still broke. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is the environment we've created when it comes to work, and I think that's the problem. We have created. It doesn't have to be this way. That's the big takeaway too. It doesn't have to be this way. This is the situation. When I say we, I mean society, not us. But this is, what greed and the corporatization of America and all this other stuff does. And this happens around the world, other places too. But this is the society that's been created. It doesn't have to be this way. And I do think over time it will get better or the whole thing will come crashing down because you'll get to the point people just won't work. You know what I mean? Like if there's no reason, if people are like, I'm still going to end up broke and I'm still not going to be able to cover my medical issues, even though I'm paying $300 a month for healthcare, people just won't go for it. Hey, Dave's a mailman in Germany, loves what he does. Nice, nice, nice. Sorry to hear that, Chase. I feel like giving up. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully we can all find solutions. I don't always know what they are, but I'm hoping we can all find solutions. And I do think, like I said, some of this stuff will start to have to change. Michaela, yeah, and once again, definitely not endorsing like hustle culture. Like I said, you got a job and a part-time job. Hey, if that works, that's enough. But I think on some levels, the hustle culture is a byproduct of one job not being enough for a lot of people to pay the bills. So you get wrapped up in how can I make more money? And that just feeds the hustle culture. So some people, yeah, they just promote hustle culture and trying to make money off people. And we live in a society that's so make more money driven in general. Like even people who have money trying to make more money. But I also think some of that's driven by people being like, I need to make more money to survive. If one job was enough, I think a lot of the people wouldn't even tap into hustle culture because they'd be like, I'm good. But the fact that there's a lot of people who's like, man, I could use an extra $300 a month. How can I do it? I think that feeds hustle culture, you know? What up, Lee? And shout out to everybody. I'm not saying hello to everyone who's saying hello. I'm reading the comments. How y'all doing? I gotta say what's up to Lee because me and him actually work together. Speaking of work, not in the same department. Lee couldn't cut it in the departments I work in. He couldn't cut it in housekeeping, but but at least my guys. I gotta say what's up to him. Yeah, 5% raise ain't even 5%. Like it's like 3.8%, which is still bro. 5% of what? My annual salary, my hourly. Would that be the same? Which one's one of them's got to be more or less? Yeah, 5% of what? Yeah, Jasmine, I was driving that POS. Yeah, like literally this car, talk about that car I had. Literally when I went to pick it up, like I walked to go see this. It was a Nissan Sentra. And it said lots of like accident damage. And when I walked to pick up the car, um, actually I think I might have took a bike. My boy Chino had given me a bike. I think I rode the bike. Because I remember I put it in the trunk on the way back. But yeah, I think the car was like $1,200 or something. No, it wasn't even 12. That one might have been no, that one was 500. I think that car was like 500. Yeah, I got that car. Wow, I got a car for 500. Yeah, I think I got that car for like five. I got that car cheap. It may not have been. I haven't bought so many cars. Um, it gets hazy. But I'm like, did I really ride around with $1,200 on me? I might have got that one for five. Like I said, it was aesthetically rough. Like the hood was held down with bungee straps, and when I was walking around it, I'm like, how did the car get all these dents? Because there was dents all around, like on all the doors and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, my mom keeps getting hit by deer." This is his mom's car. I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, she lives on like this country road. And he was like, she keeps getting the deer keep running out and hitting the car. So like the deer, she'd hit a deer in the front, but on the sides, like deer had hit the car. This shows you how crazy them Florida deer are, by the way. Um, but yeah, I was like, I was like, does it drive good? It was a stick. I took it around the block. I was like, bet. Yeah, I think it was like $500. I was like, bet, let's go. But it was, yeah, it looked rough. But honestly, me now, I probably wouldn't drive a car that looked that rough, but back then I did not care. Then again, if I found it for $500 again, let's go. But okay, yeah, yeah, that car was rough. Chrome VCR said, "I'm dropping out of working, not paying into a system that doesn't represent my interests." Hey, if you can find a way to survive without working, like I'm not mad. It's all about survival, womb to tomb. It's just that like the method most of us use to survive is you work a job, you get a paycheck, you use that money to, pay for your needs. But if you can find another way, another legal way, y'all not gonna be on here saying Tim told you to start selling dope. But another legal way, legal, y'all not gonna be here saying Tim told you to start, selling your body. Which by the way, I saw an article that said that hold on, let me see if I can find the exact numbers. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Between 2020 and 2021, OnlyFans revenue increased by 220%. Oh man, 1.2 billion was spent on OnlyFans in 2021. 1.2 billion dollars spent on OnlyFans. Do with that information what you will, okay? But people out here paying, I'm just saying that is an example of a legal side hustle. Um, I'm just putting that out there. I'm not saying do that. You got your own moral code, moral compass. I'm just saying these dudes and women is out here paying. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Exactly, Drew. Why does Netflix need to go up from 9.99 to like 14.99? Oh, some of y'all, and y'all know I love Amazon. I've been saying, hey, I know Amazon's the evil overlord. I love Amazon. Okay. I've been a member of Prime Video since the jump. You know what I mean? I've been on Amazon for 20 plus years. I've been a Prime. I pay my little 99 or $129. I like free shipping. I like Prime Video. Why is it 2.99 now to get ad free Prime Video? We need to talk, Amazon. We need to talk. Because now you messing with my pockets. Okay. It was bad enough when chicken thighs down the road at the grocery store went from like 149 to 179 down there to the King Supers. That was bad enough when I was living in Denver. That was hitting my pockets. But now Amazon is reaching in my pockets and wants me to pay an extra $2.99, damn near $3, just so I can watch the same videos without. I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not that. That got me. I've been giving in my money for. I'm sorry, that got. I had to talk about that. $2.99 to get an ad-free experience. So they're gonna just be like Netflix soon. It's gonna go up to $4.99. But here's some good news, folks. Wow. Hey, Steve. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Abundance. Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate that. Steve, come through, dropping the bag off. I really appreciate that, Steve Mayfield. The continued support. That is love. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. We here. We here. See, now I don't feel so bad about that 2.99. Now I feel bad complaining about that 2.99. It's still craziness. It's still crazy. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest, folks. All right. I'm a little behind in these comments, but I'm trying to, see what everybody's up to. Trying to comment on different stuff. Thank you so much, Steve. Kat said it's not easy, but you have to earn more. You have to earn money. Is the way it is. The trick is find something you can tolerate or maybe even have fun. I agree. I agree. That's why I say if you can. I'm not anti-work, but if you can find a job you enjoy, that pays you a decent wage, let's go. Simply me journey said I've been retired for about a year and a half. I just can't see myself working again. It's pure slavery. Work hard and get noted and wear fat. And shout out to you for being retired and being able to, like I said, any option you can take to not have to deal with it if you don't want to deal with it is amazing. It's amazing. Matt, sometimes I'll watch, like I like Professor Richard Wolf. Um, I don't watch his Democracy at Work channel. Sometimes leans a little too in the direction it leans. So I can't tap in totally, but I watch some of this stuff. Yeah, because you know what direction they lean over there, and I don't lean either direction. So if it's too far right or too far left, I like to be in the middle. So sometimes certain people I gotta be like, yeah, like so. But I do watch from time to time. He'll have some good discussions. Oh, then yeah, the retirement age change. I need to tap into that. Someone told me about it. I haven't looked into it. I do want to do a stream coming up soon about retirement, and it's going to be called "None of Us Are Going to Retire Anyway," or something like. What was it? What was it? What was it called? I got the title here. What was it called? And I said, "Tim, that might be a little too mean." Let's see what I said. Um, oh, it says you're never going to retire, so you might as well live now. I said, Tim, that might be a little mean. But it's just, I don't think it's really going to matter that much for a lot of us because by the time we get to 67 or 70, we still going to be working, which is why I need to figure out work now, you know? But I do agree that like we are living longer. And so that does have to be factored into the equation. If you not, just look at it, without a dog in the fight, you know, if you set if people live to 80 and you're like, okay, we'll make Social Security 65, we'll pay them 15 years. If people start living to 90, you know what I mean? We have, what I mean? It's understandable. It's like, hey, we need to push this back some. So I get that, but I don't think it's really going to matter, because it's not going to be enough. I don't think for most of us, if we get to 67 or 70, I don't think we'll be able to live just on Social Security anyway. I told you, I was talking to the lady in the airport in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So me and my husband live down here because we, worked our whole lives and we can't afford to retire in the United States. And when I was just down there a couple weeks ago, it really put in perspective because there's a ton of people on vacation, and then there's a ton of people who were there living there, and you could tell because the people on vacation were in their nice clothes and spending money. The retirees, like there's a bunch of old dudes walking around with no shirts on, and like you could tell the retirees, you could tell people who live there for the people on vacation. But so many people, I'm like, these people live here. And yeah, it's beautiful down there and it's cool, but I guarantee a lot of them live there because they couldn't afford to retire in the States, which is crazy. Um, I love that Chase won't quit looking for awesome jobs. That's the way to do. Any thoughts on jobs that pay lower due to working remote? Black girl on the mountain. Like I feel like if you're doing the same job, you should get the same money, right? If you're doing the same job, same amount of work, if you're doing it from home or wherever you're doing it, if you're trying, you should get the same money. However, say you're in a work situation and you want to go remote, I could see where someone would take that because, for example, you might be saving money on gas every day. You get more of your time because you don't have to commute to work. So I could see someone taking that deal if they're like, "Hey, you can go remote, but we're going to pay you a little less." I don't think that's right, but I could see it being okay because you get to work from wherever you want to, and that gives you the freedom to maybe travel or do whatever. So I could see taking that deal, but I don't know if I think it's right. As an employer, I don't think I would do that. Like if someone was like, "Hey, I want to go remote," and it could work, I'm gonna pay them the same salary, like because it's actually probably saving me money, maybe not having money, not unless like a whole floor went remote and then we didn't have to have that floor or the power. But I think I would pay people the same amount of money. You know, ask the animal. Yeah, housekeeping is a very challenging gig. Shay said, "Tim, if you had $1,000 a month to live off, would you quit looking for work and live off disability?" Um, I don't think I would on just $1,000 because like that's not even rent. You know what I mean? Or that's just rent. You know. So unless I could find if I could find a cheap place to stay, maybe. But like when my rent was a $500 a month when I was living in Bozeman, in that situation, maybe. But even then, only having $500 left for the whole, I don't know. I personally probably would. Hey, life is good. So my situation is I work at home full time, zero stress and flexibility, pretty good pay, but job has no purpose. Give this brother advice. 46 years old. Life is good. I would say with so much, and thank you for sharing. With so much, 46 years old, we in here. With so much good stuff, I would say that maybe look for purpose outside of the job. You know what I mean? If you get to work from home, zero stress, flexibility, you're making decent money, then maybe the job is the job, and then you look for purpose outside of the job. Because I feel like it'd be a struggle to find all that good. Not saying it's impossible, and you could still be looking for that, but to find the same money, the same flexibility, the ability to work remotely, and a job that means something would be very hard. Will be hard to get. So if you say, "All right, work is just work. I'm in zombie mode. I get it done. It pays the bills." But when I'm not working, that's when I'm really looking for purpose. I feel like that could be a move. But still, you know, if in the background you're like, "Hey, if something comes along that has, always be looking for something that checks all the boxes." But if something checks 4 out of 5 boxes, you keep that around, you know. But that's awesome. You got all that, you know. Ask the animals. You got a car for $1, really? D, life and love and light. Hashtag blessings. Hey, thank you, thank you. Excuse me. Excuse me, folks. Tim said I purchased a car for $500, took it to college. It cut off me several times. Hey, you push through. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, that's true. Right. So being seasonal work, you're like, hey, If I can't do what I love for a living, then at least like I can have no bills. I feel you on that. That's one thing I love about seasonal jobs. Um, or as I'm rebranding them, short-term travel jobs is, a lot of you get one that provides meals and provides housing, even if they take a little out of your check for that, the check, the check you do get, you get to keep, So yeah, it is kind of a hack. Actually, I'm gonna do it right now because I always do it. You know, Coolworks just needs to send me a check one day. They're gonna. I need to reach out to them again. But I'm gonna put the link for Coolworks in the chat. This is the company that allowed me to get some freedoms. Uh, where we at? Where we at? Boop, 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 boop. I'm way behind on these comments. Great day. All right, we're trying to get there. Yeah, someone mentioned UBI. Y'all know my thoughts on UBI. I don't think it's the answer, but some people do. So we'll see. Leo had a job that provided bus passes. See, where's the? I've seen other jobs do that. Um, but part of me thinks that it depends on where you live. Because if you're like in a city where everybody takes the bus, cool. But if you're in a city where like not everybody rides the bus, I feel like that's them saying, "We know you don't pay. We pay you enough to have a good car. we're not, we're not going to pay you enough to have a good car. We'll give you a bus pass. I mean, I'll still take it, but you know, yeah, he's like, yeah, we give you a bus pass. You're like, dang, you already know that I'm not going to be able to have a good car. Um, Simone B said, I will not be working over 59. Oh, nice, nice, nice. It's Bellum said, I'm not working at no 65 plus. What I mean? It's sad that like so many people have to. Now some people want to, but some people's like, okay, I'm retirement age, but I'm just gonna sit at the house. Like I worked my whole life. I work. But a lot of people just like, well, the social security might pay my rent, but I still gotta eat, you know? Yeah, Robert, we definitely could here in America change the way we spend our tax dollars. We could. But some of that stuff that we spend exorbitant amounts on, are they ever going to change it? Probably not. So, you know. Hey, I appreciate all the comments, man. This is great. This is great. Well, it's a great stream. The views are good. The likes are good. The comments are good. Um, yeah, I'm love. Thank y'all for being a part of this. Jimmy said, "Funny you say that. My wife and I plan to move out of U.S. for retirement." I think a lot of people are doing it because they just want to change and like it is cool, to go other countries, live in other countries. But yeah, some people when you're doing it because like you have to, it's kind of interesting. You know, Deborah at the 9 to 5 right now on lunch. Hopefully, you get that hour lunch break. Yeah, Drew, and I apologize for being so far behind in these comments, folks, but I'm trying to. But yeah, it says a lot that, and I'm not hating on anybody who does OF or any like get your coins, get your coins. I'm Mr. Get Your Coins. If it's legal, get your coins. But it says a lot about us that you know people are spending that much money, and I think it is a lot of it's escapism. When things aren't going good in our life, we like to escape. And one of the ways we like to escape is like looking at pictures and videos of pretty people, or sexy people. There's a difference. That's another stream though. Okay. And I'm not mad at that. Like I don't say I'm not saying that's wrong. But I do think we spend a lot of money. Bro, I was talking to my Uber driver and he said the Super Bowl tickets are 10 grand or something. The cheapest ticket for the Super Bowl, 10 grand. This is what I'm saying. We're very selective about how we judge people, how they spend money. Because if someone's like, "Oh man, I went to the Super Bowl," you'd be like, "Bro, that's crazy. That's a flex." But if someone's like, "Yeah, I spent $1,000 on OF," people are like, "What?" It's both escapism, So we are definitely spending tons and tons of money trying to escape. But can you blame us when, like, from most people, their everyday life is just look? You know what I mean? Yeah, Chase. Yeah, low income housing. What we were talking about earlier, $1,000 a month. Um, Low income housing. Yeah, if they made that anymore, they don't make low income housing in most places. But yeah, Big Bandolero, I agree. I think we're on the midst of and on the cusp of some big changes, and I do think that like more and more people are going to just be like, no, no, like people, I'm not doing it. Especially the kids looking at the world, you know, the kids being born like Gen Alpha, they gonna look at the world and be like, nah, this is, you know what I mean? Like they don't, so their aspirations are so different than like my generations were. We still were on the get a good job. They're on the like, nah, I'm gonna be a hustler. Like I'm gonna be a TikTok. I'm gonna be Mr. Beast. You know what I mean? So that I think coming up in a world where there are so many other options. There's this. I don't know if I even want to say this because people will jump on me, but like you don't think some of the stuff we just recently talked about. You don't think some of the little kids is like, oh, I can just grow up and do that. You know what I mean? So they got more options from the jump. I think they'll be less likely to take some of the stuff even we take now. Tyler got laid off and enjoying the time off. Feels nice to actually get up in the morning and have the whole day to do whatever you want. Facts. And that's the thing too. Monkey D. If that's all I have to look forward to in the workplace, even if I get a degree and get a good job, do I even want to get the degree no more? You know what I mean? And how does that look when more and more people stop going after higher education? Which here's a question, folks. Speaking of higher education, the amount you pay for college has gone up astronomical amounts in the past 30 years or whatever. Who's getting all that money? You know what I mean? Where's all the money going? Like who? Billions of dollars every year. Like who's getting all the money? A lot of other stuff we know who's getting the money, but you've never seen someone like flexing because they're a college president and they're a billionaire now. You know what I mean? Like, or you know what I mean, like where does the money? Where directly does the extra? I mean, if they're getting millions more a year at these colleges, where's that money going? Because the curriculum's the same. They probably ain't giving it to the professors. They might have upgraded the college some, but still, like, where's all the money going? If college is a scam, who's this the scammer at the top getting all the money? Like, where's it going? Curious question. Burning question said, I don't have a lot in my retirement fund. I'm in my middle age, and all those years ago, I just said it and forgot because planning for retirement seems like too much work. I don't know anything. Um, I think that's a good option. Just set it, go. I mean, I know nothing about retirement. I just look at it the way I look at it. And I'm always like, yeah, if you can figure out how to, like, it's always good to have coins. Okay. In the world we live in, it's good to have coins. Money's not real, but still, it's useful. I'm gonna do a stream about that soon too. People keep coming at me about that. But like, yeah, if you can retire with a decent amount of money, of course. But sadly, it's really the system isn't set up for that to happen for most of us. That's why when people are like, are you worried about retirement? I'm like, bro, even if I spent every waking hour worrying about retirement, it still might not work out. And that's not a reason not to do it. But I'm just like, that's why I haven't really thought about it too much up until now. Is because I'm just like, you know, I don't know. Now that I'm, 44, I start to think about it more. It's like, hey, if I can take the next 20 years and kind of work on setting myself up, okay, cool. But if that doesn't happen, we'll figure it out. I already know I'm gonna be on that Golden Girls tip. I'm gonna be on that Golden Girls tip. I'm gonna be like 70 and I'm gonna live with like four other people. It's gonna be crazy. Or you know what I mean? I'm gonna find like the cheapest little senior community. I'm gonna be in the I'm gonna be in the senior community ghetto, basically is what I'm saying. Okay. But it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be lit though. It's gonna be litty because like everybody gonna be there. You know what I mean? All of us, we gonna be there. We gonna get our check on the 15th and we gonna party. Like we gonna be broke by the 21st. It's gonna be lit. We gonna be down there to the ghetto. They gonna be, oh, you stay at you stay they gonna be like, oh, you live in Orchard Arms? Ooh. I'm like, it's fun though. Come through. It's gonna be the place everybody want. All the seniors want to come visit, but nobody really wants to live there. Kind of like America. Okay. Uh, oh, I think we got some love. Oh, Drew coming through. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Drew. Thank you. So I love my job because I have the ability to listen to Timothy Ward. Ask is work even worth it anywhere while I'm working. Hey, great midday live stream. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate the love, the generous donation. Thank you so much, Drew, for the continued support. Thank you. Hey, and I want to. I always forget to address the likes and the hearts and stuff on the side. Thank y'all for that too. It adds to the engagement. Thank you so much, Drew. Yeah, that job's a keeper. You got to ask at the interview. Will it allow me to watch live streams doing work? Because that's important. Don't worry about the benefits, the pay. Can I watch Timothy Ward doing work? Hey, Phoenix Rose, Aurora, you sending love. I'm taking the love, sending it right back to you. Hopefully you're doing well. You know. Where are we in the comments? The rising Aquarian Nick says, "What do you think about some people having more than two kids and then living off their child tax credit and not working, giving their kids little without them ever knowing?" Um, and this may not be everyone's opinion on that, but I, hey, if you can make that work, I don't think there's a law that says you have to give the kids. The government gave you that money to take care of the kids, so as long as you're taking care of the kids, if you're providing them a roof over their head and food to eat and clothes and a couple toys, I think they okay. Now, if you're using that money and not providing for the kids, yeah. But if you're providing for the kids what they need, I don't think you have to give them any of that money. I know a lot of back in the day. I knew a lot of single moms who got big checks come tax time. Boy, I'd be so mad. Like I'm not mad, but I'm like, dang, how you get $15,000? She's like, I got 5 kids. I'm like, oh, okay. You buying dinner? Hey, Shar said, I told my daughter not to go to college. She now has a great career making bucket loads of money. Hey, hey. And I think, and this isn't across the board. Shout out to you, by the way. Shout out to your daughter. I see you. Um, I wonder if some people who go to college think that like this is the blueprint and it's easy, so I don't have to really. I'm not saying college isn't hard, you know what I mean? But maybe it's just like, okay, I'll go to college. If I do good there, I'll get a good job. Whereas if someone's like, hey, I'm not going to college, so I need to get out in these streets and like really work at it, figure it out. So I wonder if not going to college and if you're driven, make kind of might put you ahead because like, okay, I got to be out there figuring something out. Whereas I think there's some people in college who are just like, oh, it'll work out magically because I went to college because that's what everybody told them. And then they get on the job market, they're like, oh, everybody else got the same degree. So what do I do now? John, you think it should be illegal in the United States for Americans to watch sports? Interesting. I disagree with that. I love my sports. I love my sports. Um, but hey, good to know. Good to hear your opinion. You said the college presidents and chancellors are getting the money. Yeah, it's interesting, but you never hear about that. You'd think by now they would be like, oh, you always hear about CEOs and bonuses and all this. We're always, anytime there's a news story about a CEO, someone filmed one of their meetings, we love coming down on CEOs, but you rarely hear like these greedy college presidents, if they're the ones getting the money. You never really hear about that. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm like, interesting. Hey, J Baby oh 07, good to see you. So there's so much money, so much information online these days for free. You can learn a skill, work for yourself, do what you enjoy. I agree with that. We've never had more access to information, easier access to information than ever before. So if you're the type that can read some stuff, watch some videos, figure some stuff out, I think it's a better time than ever to learn how to, get some paper yourself. I definitely agree with that. Not saying it's easy, but it's easier. Shar, you said unless you win the lottery, you'll never pay off your student loans in your lifetime, and that's crazy. That's crazy that that's a true sentence. You know what I mean? That's crazy, and like that's normal though. A lot of people's like, yeah, me too. That's crazy. Why are you playing lotto? I'm trying to get rid of these loans. Back in the days, like, oh, I'm gonna hit the lotto, and it's gonna be Lambos and big house and all this other craziness. Now it's just like, boy, I hit that lotto, these loans are gone. First thing you're gonna do, you hit the lottery. People are like, oh, I'm going to Disney World. People are like, man, I'm going right down there to the I'm going right down there to the loan office, give them this check, boy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's and the fact that for a lot of people they're in that situation and then that degree didn't help them the way they thought they would is crazy. Is even crazier. Yeah, I'm gonna be on that golden goals tip, man. Hmm. Pat Pock, I never said money didn't matter. I've never said that. Um, I said money isn't real. Goods and services are real. And there could be a world where we exchange goods and services without money, right? You get money to buy goods and services. We invented money to facilitate the exchange of goods and services because it's a lot harder to go to the supermarket and buy 20 chicken wings when you have to like barter. It is harder. So it's easier to be like, okay, we have this thing called money that isn't real. It doesn't represent anything, but it has no value, but it represents you know what I mean? Like we'll all come together and decide what everything is worth, and then you can just exchange the money instead of having to exchange. Example, if I'm a farmer and I have wheat, instead of me going in the store and like handing over bushels of wheat, it's easier to do the money. But the money is just used as an exchange, a method of exchange. It's not real. It's not real. That's what I'm always saying. And when you look at it that way, it kind of makes you be like, yeah, so why do we spend our life like chasing money when at the end of the day it means nothing unless you spend it on some goods and services? For example, you can have a ton of money, but if there's nothing to buy, if nobody's selling nothing, what do you have? If you have $1 million, but nobody's selling nothing, you better hope you got it in cash. You can burn it for fuel. That's what I'm saying. But like, if you've got eggs, you've got eggs. You know what I mean? If you've got whatever else you got a car, you got a car. Money isn't real. It's just there to facilitate. So I never said money didn't matter because in this society we use the money like that. But if you took all the money in the world away, the world would still go on because it's just like a facilitator. It just helps. Yeah, yeah, Wanda, I good to see you. I think we need to ask ourselves more of these questions, and I think people are asking these questions more just because the system ain't working no more for the average person. Yes, there's more millionaires and billionaires than ever. That's part of the problem, actually. But people like to point to that. If the system's broken, how are people making? Well, that's why. That's part of the broke. That's why it's broken, sir, ma'am. But I think more people are asking themselves these questions that before they just this is the way it is, and if it kind of works, you know. But now people are just like, I hate my job. They raising my rent price. Like, what's the point? And when is it gonna stop? That's a big part of it too, is they just keep adding on more stuff. It's like, boy, you can if I'm standing under a tree and a bird poops on me, you know what I mean? And I the bird poops and I don't really see it. It hits me on the back. Okay, I'm still, but if I'm standing on a tree and birds just keep pooping, you know what I mean? Like I'm moving. I'm like, I'm not doing this. Why am I, you know what I mean? Like that was a horrible analogy. Because if a bird pooped on you once, you're moving. But you see what I'm saying? Like you might could get pooped on and not even realize you get pooped on. But when it's just 10 birds up there pooping on you, you realize it and you moving. Like what, you know what I mean? That's the thing. They just keep adding and doing and take more taken away than adding, excuse me. But add more bills, taking away money. Like people are just like, why? I'm not doing this. I'm getting up out of here. That's why more and more people are going to be leaving. I know, speaking from American standpoint, more and more people are just looking at other countries than ever before because they're just like, bro, like it's not worth it here. It's not worth it here. What up, Praveen? Good to see you. People just like it's not worth, bro. Like I think about that a lot. I'm just like, man, like and I love America. People always like, when are you going to move to another country? Like, I don't want to move to another country. I like to, there's some countries I want to travel to. I don't want to have to move to be able to make it, you know? Hey, Daniel, Fort SQ says, just popping in to say work is not worth it anymore. What is worth it is any individual who chooses to develop their own work ethic for themselves. We create value, not the US work system. I like that. I like that. Appreciate you coming through. Ahmad only works 3 days, no kids, no car. Hey, we in the same boat. We in the same boat there. Brian, yes, they did used to exchange gold and silver for items, which is the same. Fiat currency is the same game as gold and silver, but on a worse level. You know, it's the same game, but fiat currency, like you can't print gold and silver. Fiat currency, you can just make up. So it's the same game of using something else to facilitate trade. But when we got the fiat currency, now you can just make it up. Like you don't have to go dig in the ground for it. That's what made gold and silver kind of valuable and a lot better for using in trade because there's a limited supply of it. There's an endless supply of fiat currency. We don't even have to print it no more because very few people use cash. Cash is becoming less popular. So like now you just make it up. You just go to the Federal Reserve, which isn't a government agency. Tell me you're getting too much truth. They just go to the Federal Reserve, ask for more money. Hey, we need 5 trillion more dollars. Okay, like it's anyone who, if you ever want like to have your mind blown, if you've never looked into like how currency is created in America or where the money comes from, you look into that. It'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. Yeah. Honestly, one of the biggest places where money is created in general is on bank loans or loans in general. One of the biggest places money is created is on loans because like if I go to the bank and I say I need 10 grand, well, these days, if I need 25 grand to buy a decent car, to buy the cheapest car on the lot, I need 25 grand. The bank, how does it go? Um, the bank puts that in as a positive. They've gotten 25 grand. Basically, you create 25 grand when you go to the bank and ask for a loan of $25,000. It's not like they put on their books a negative that they took out $25,000 and gave it to you, and then when you pay it back, it goes back to normal. No, they put it on their books as a positive. So basically, $25,000 is created in the economy. That's how so much of our money is created, is through loans. I'm not the best at explaining this economic stuff, as people are always telling me on here. You don't know anything about the economy, sir. But that was eye-opening. I'm like, oh, they put that on their books as a positive, even though they're technically taking money, but they don't actually give because they don't actually give you anything. You know what I mean? It's just kind of it's hard. Yeah, like I said. But look, there's people on the internet who can explain it a lot better, who explains it a lot better. We're struggling to get made up. I'm telling you, like it's crazy. It's crazy. That's why I long for the days when you went out, you hunted, you fished. You know, it was real. I catch this fish, me and my family eat it. There was no money in the middle. If I caught two fish and like somebody hadn't caught any fish, either I gave them the fish because people helped each other out back then, or hey, I picked some berries. Hey, I'll give you some. We'll get together. You'll eat my berries. I'll eat your fish. Not this like, oh, I got to go to a job and make money, and hopefully that money covers the things I need to live. And if it doesn't, nobody cares. It's just a interesting society. Comments looking good today, folks. I appreciate that. The numbers looking good. Oh, Praveen said that's called accounts receivable. Praveen knows. He knows. He knows about money. What up, Austin? London, yes, the Creature from Jekyll Island. I've heard it's a great book. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard a lot about it. It's been referenced in a lot of videos I've watched. I used to be heavy into like, gold and silver back in the day, and so I watched all the economy stuff. Mike Maloney, who you got to own a precious metals business, he's pretty objective. You got to watch some of them gold and silver people because they're all who have skin in the game. But he has it's probably a 5-year-old course now, a set of videos, but it's called The Hidden Secrets of Money. That is eye opening. It's on YouTube for free. It's called The Hidden Secrets of Money. I think it's like a 7-part thing in total. The last two aren't that good, but the first 4 or 5 are really good. And he kind of just takes it back from the beginning of time through now and just kind of talks about it's really good. It's really good. Like I recommend it. Hey, Praveen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad. That is love, my brother. So happy Tuesday, Tim. Hope your day's going well. It is, it is. I'm having a great time. Thank you so much. Julian, I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. Preparation is important for one's own direct future. Like I said, previous generations relied on an employer to provide a means of financial sustenance. Now the landscape is shifting to where hundreds and thousands of young graduates want to go into business for themselves, which is the best model to diversify and create income sustaining business. I agree. I agree. And I think there's a lot of people who's like, I ain't even got to be a graduate to do it. I can just do it on my own. What am I going to go to school for if I want to figure this out on my own? So I agree with that. I agree. I love that. Well, like I said, back in the day, it was very, and it's still preached, but it was very much, hey, just go to college, it'll all work out, it'll be figured out for you. Now people are like, let me see if I can do it myself. Fact, Chantel, sometimes your mental health, and this is important. Glad you brought that up. We hadn't really talked about that too much, but sometimes your mental health is one of the most important things. Because if you're not healthy, either physically or mentally, what's the rest of the stuff is like a mute point, you know, to a certain degree. So like if you're working a job and it's crushing your mental health or destroying your mental health, it's definitely not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. And even though more jobs than ever have like, oh, we have our mental health hotline, you'd be like, yeah, the reason you have to have these mental health hotlines is because the job is crazy. I think that should be a bigger consideration than the money at a job. For me, no, I don't think I've ever streamed 3 times in one day. I might have if like the stream went off and I had to come back on, but I don't think I've ever streamed 3 times in one day. No, that might be too much. People be like, okay, Tim, you okay, Tim, you we get it. You're bored. No, yes, Juliet, I do agree that for certain professions, yeah, I think it's still good to be educated. Um, in general, in life, I think it's good to be educated, though that doesn't always mean college educated or university educated. But I think for certain professions, yeah. Once again, I'm not anti-work. I'm not anti-college, anti-university. I'm just pro doing what works best for you. And a lot of the narratives that we've been taught are best for the colleges, the universities, the jobs, and not for us. So I like to come in and shake it up and just be like, hey, you don't have to do anything. There's no rules. You can figure out what works best for you. Just because everybody else says to do it does not mean it works best for you. You know. Hey, Brogan, about to start that food truck. I feel you. I feel you. Nice, nice. Tom says money's essential in life, but not the main thing. My girlfriend, mom, and friends are a priority, not this company or anyone. Killing yourself while making us rich is a no. I agree. I agree. I agree. And it's like, yeah, you got to get out there and find a way to make your coins, sadly. But that doesn't mean it has to be priority in your life. And I understand why it feels that way. Because people are like, well, if I'm not making the right money, I can't spend time with my family. I can't do all this other stuff. But we can keep in our minds the priority no matter what. These are my priorities. This is what I care about. And while this getting money might be important, it's not the most important thing to me. We can make that distinction. And I think it does color and influence your life decisions because you're going to make decisions, whatever's priority, you're going to make the decisions to benefit that first. And if making money is your priority in life, you're just naturally going to make decisions that pushes all this other stuff to the back. And I don't think that's in our best interest. Do things you love with people you love. Facts. And yeah, like Spellman said, jobs are a dime a dozen. I do feel like if that was our mindset and just be like, man, I can get another job. Employers try to, I've had employers be like, hey, it's getting rough out there. Be grateful you got this job. I'm like, shut up. Like, how would you're a job expert just because you're my manager. You're a job expert. Shut up. Like that kind of annoyed me. One time someone said, I'm like, bro, don't stop. Stop. I'm grown. Like, don't talk to me. Like, what I mean, I know the job market better than you, sir. But if we have that idea and get another job. I didn't have a job when I found this one, so I can get another one. You know what I mean? I think that's while understanding and respecting the good things about the job you have now, but also realize there's other job. EJ just literally got into it with your manager. He's wanting you to carry people's weight that aren't doing the job. The reward for hard work is more work. I had a boss tell me that. That was another time when I was like, "Who do you think you talking to, bro?" Like, I didn't say that because I respected him. He was a decent manager, but like the reward for hard work is more work. I'm like, who takes that? Like, who do you say that to? And they're like, yeah, you're right, boss. I'll chip in more. I was just like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, not staying here. It's crazy. I'll tell you, the things employers say sometimes, and they expect us to just eat it up, drink the Kool-Aid. I'm like, bro, like, who you talking to? I'm grown around here. And now I understand, once again, if you got a lot of responsibilities, you got to take what you got to take. I understand until you can change it. But I'd be like, y'all know me. Who you talking to? Though as I get older, sometimes I'm like, it can't always just be about your ego, Tim. But yeah. Simi says, have to make your dollars make more dollars. Can't keep giving your time for money. Fact, I think, yeah. But once again, that's the type of stuff we're not taught in school. You know, we don't teach you that in elementary school. It'd be very easy to learn kids up on that. You know, it's crazy. I just thought about this when I was in elementary school. I was smart back then. So I was always like gifted. They had gift. I don't know what they call it now, even if they can do that now. But they had like the gifted program, and I just realized one of the things we did in that was we had this thing called the stock market game. And so like my gifted class was like once a week they bust us to another school and like we did smart kid stuff. And one of the things we played was the stock market game. And it just hit me that like the regular I don't y'all know what I'm saying. The kids who weren't in gifted, they never taught them about the stock market or investing. But the kids who was smarter, they did. You know what I mean? That just hit me, bro. You know how crazy it is? That wasn't part of the regular career. It could have been, and it was a game. It was fun. Like we literally went through the newspaper, bought stock. You know, look, I was elementary school. Went through the newspaper, bought stocks. Like obviously we could understand it. You know, back at the regular class, nobody learned this. They didn't teach you nothing about investing, assets, nothing. But the 5 or 6 smart kids will teach them. You know what I mean? That's dirty, bro. That is scummy. I never thought about that until just now. Come, you see why wealth stays in certain areas. Now, you might be like, Tim, if you were already like learning about the stock market when you were in elementary school, why have you not done anything with that knowledge or very little with it? That's a good question. The stock market, the stock market isn't my favorite investment vehicle. Um, maybe because I was learning about it as a kid, and I'm like, this ain't real. There's no product. Yeah, the stock market has no product. Like that, you know how much money is generated? There's no product. There's no service. Okay, I'll jump off. People jump on. Some of them start jumping into the stock market. I'm with you, Juliet. I stand behind education too. I just don't stand behind. Here's the thing: we've equated education with college and university. I just don't make that distinction. You can educate yourself on your own. You have more knowledge and information on your phone than Reagan had when he was president. You know what I mean? So like if you want to go to college, university, cool. Never against education. It's gonna cost you. But I'm like, you can just sit at the house and educate yourself and become one of the most educated people on the planet without having to go through all these courses that someone else said you had to learn. That's all I'm saying. I'm a big proponent of education. I'm just like sit at the house and get your coins up. You know, sit at the house and educate, sit at your house and learn. You know, it doesn't even have to be about money. You can evolve and grow just on the internet typing in philosophy. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. I don't like the ideal that when people say they're educated, they mean they went to school. Because I'm like, you can be very educated and not go to school. But that's one of the games they play to get you to go to college. Because if you don't go to college, you can't say you're educated. And women on dating apps won't want you. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Did a little bit of my personal life just bleed over into the street. Uh, that's just me though. That's just me though. Like, why does no one champion just regular educating yourself online? We're all for education when it's $30,000 a semester. Okay, moving on. Oh, Cuba, you ready to quit the Goodwill? Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. Um, is the Goodwill really that stressful? What do you do down there? What do you do? I agree, Juliet. Travel is a huge part of education. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. Jack said in Ireland, fresh out of college, you make 28,000 a year. After 5 years of experience, you make 35,000. After 10, it's what, 37? Yeah, you know, it's do I still practice meditation, Ricky? Not as much as I probably should. For the benefits I know, I'll go through phases where I'm like meditating every day, and then I'll drop off sometimes. I still meditate, but it's not daily like I would like to. Some days I get up and I start doing other stuff and I forget. But I still firm believer, big advocate for meditation. Totally. Hey, Gamer, appreciate you saying that. So you're a positive role model. Hope you keep vlogging. Thanks for your insight. Looking forward to your advice for young people in the world. Hey, this is what we do. You might have noticed we've been doubling down a little more on the live streaming. Um, there was a time when I was like, well, I don't want to live stream too much because people might get tired of it. But I'm like, oh, they don't have to watch. So, and I've been saying for the longest that like live streaming is going to be the way to go on the internet. And I've noticed more people doing it, more creators doing it, more people like Gary Vee saying, hey, this live stream is where it's at. So I'm like, as the live stream king, self-proclaimed live stream king, I got to keep my hat in the ring. So we here. Austin, love this. Said agreed on travel. There is a massive overlap between the 30 to 45% of Americans that believe certain things and the percentage of Americans that don't hold a passport. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I agree with that. You even traveling domestically, I don't think you have to leave the country. If you want to, cool. Obviously the more you see, but like even you can tell the difference between the people who travel within their country and the people who just stay in one place. Because the people who stay in one place typically have the beliefs of that area, of that. As somebody who's from Florida, I can tell you, especially when I'm up in North Florida, I can tell you the people who are from there and who've always been there, they got views that I just be like, bro, like when I go, that's why honestly, and not pooping on none of them because they're not all like this, but you see it. When I go back home, I can tell the difference because it's just the conversation. They're just stuff that they all just see it a certain way. I'm like, and it's the we all see it this way, and no one realizes that it's just a given. You know, you say something different, they're just like, what? Like, what? Huh? And I'm just like, oh, because when you from here and you stay here all the time, do you just or when you travel, if you do travel, it's somewhere else just like that. Like if you're from North Florida and you go up to South Tennessee, you know, not dissing any of these places, or that's family. I know people that are very educated, very in tune, but a lot of them either came from somewhere else or they went other places, or they just educated, but like people, if you stay in one place, you just kind of naturally just believe what everybody else around you believes. All the same religion, you go to, you just, I don't know. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just always wanted to question everything. I've always been a contrarian. If everybody says something's blue, I'm gonna be like, but is it though? What is blue? You know what I mean? I'm that dude. Bad Garden, I would not consider myself MGTOW or MW. I don't even know what MWA is, but I would not consider myself any of those. I don't. There's not a lot of labels I put on myself. I looked into MGTOW back in the day, but it seemed like there was a lot of like bitterness and resentment towards women in it, and I was like, nah, I don't rock with that. I love the ladies, so I ain't gonna rock with that. No. And ask the animals. I do agree that travel costs money. Um, I do agree with that. I will say though that there's a lot of people I think who think they can't afford travel who could. If they prioritized it, I think they could. Um, but some people just don't want to. So, and I'm not saying they have to. Um, but I do think hopping in the car and taking a 5 hour road trip with the kids to another city can be very just the 5 hour. You know what I mean? Drive 5 hours, you be in a different state, different city. That can be eye opening and so educational. And that's within the range of most people's budget. But you know, like I said, everybody does, and they don't have to, but everybody doesn't prioritize it. James said, just go to the airport and hang out. Hey, you can do that. You can do that. You can do that. But I love the airport. One of the things I love about traveling is the airport. Yeah. Ray says, an answer to the title of the video. I think the answer is already being formed. 43% of the workforce is a side hustle. 60% of them work 5 to 20 hours per week outside of the jobs, um, which I think that's good and horrible at the same time. Because like a large percentage of that is people who have to do that. Like if it was by choice, 43% of people have a side hustle. Cool. 60% of people work outside the job by choice. But when a lot of people have to do that because they have to do that, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, it's good that that's a solution. But on the other hand, it's like, man, that's a lot of people having to work outside of their job when a lot of them probably don't want to. But I do think that is ultimately stuff like that is going to help to fuel the change that is going to have to come in the workplace. I agree. Gregory, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you got to get the passports renewed. And yeah, travel around the world, I think, is cheaper. To Juliet's point, I think it's cheaper than most people think. A lot of people spend more money on a vacation down the road than they would probably spend on a vacation out the country. Like if a lot of people never look, I was saying I never looked into international travel because I just thought like you had to be a millionaires. You know what I mean? When I started looking into, it, I'm like, oh, I can get a round trip. Depending on when I book, I can get a round trip ticket pretty much anywhere in the world for 1,000, 1,200 bucks, roughly. I'm like, oh, I can save that up. Jack, I disagree. You don't have to be rich to get a good looking woman in the states. You don't have no. We have these myths. No matter how many times, this is what happens. We'll look at couples and we'll be like, how did he get with her? How did she get with him? But then we'll also turn around and be like, man, if you don't have six figures and look good, you can't get a one. But both can't be true, people. We've seen so many examples of like rich celebrities settling for the backup dancer who ain't even that cute. Or I shouldn't even say settle, but choosing. We see it all the time. But then we also turn around and be like, man, if you don't have a ton of money, you can't get the man or woman you. Bro, it's not. It's not true. It's not true. If you want that to be true in your life, keep saying it. And I think that's the reason so many people are just like, man, I gotta make more money to blah because they've taught themselves to believe that like I have to make money to get a good woman. I have to do certain things to get a good man. And at the end of the day, those aren't the things the people you want attracted to you are attracted to you for. Pretty much everybody, except for people who'll tell you, oh, I'm about money, I'm about position, whatever. But the average person will be like, I don't really care about that. I just want a man or a woman who like we're compatible, treats me right, loves me. But we still have this myth that like, oh, if you don't have a ton of money, you can't get a good woman. It's like, bro, there's a lot of women out there don't care. They making their own money. Anyway, side note. Bryson, in the thumbnail, I've actually had that picture for since the summer. And I was about to go to work one day and I was like, man, this will make a good thumbnail. So I literally have had that picture since like May, or June. And I was working in I was actually a supervisor, a housekeeping supervisor. So I honestly wasn't doing a lot of work with gloves and the broom, but I had. Why did I keep gloves? Because I really didn't need them much. Like taking trash out. Every now and then I'd help the housekeepers out. I would take the trash out to the dumpster for them and other little stuff. So I had gloves, and I was sitting in my apartment because I had an apartment employee housing at that job, and I was sitting in my apartment, and I was like, this would be a good picture, because I was about to go to work. And I was like, man, I had my uniform on. Shortly after that, I stopped wearing the uniform because I told my boss, I was like, this shirt doesn't give off supervisor. I'm like, respectfully, I've worn shirts like this for many years as a housekeeper. I was like, this shirt doesn't give off supervisor. I want to start wearing a little collar joint. You know what I mean? Because I noticed when like guests would pass me, like say a guest had a question and I walked up to answer it. I noticed they didn't give me that, oh, here's the guy to talk to look. They were just kind of like, but once I started wearing the collared shirt, tucked it in, you know what I mean? I started getting that respect, and I needed that. So I stopped wearing that short soonly thereafter. That shirt, excuse me. But yeah, I had my shirt on, and so I was like, I'm gonna take a picture. And this morning I was like, oh, I want to do a live stream about work, and I was like, oh, I got that picture on my phone. So yeah, but I was a housekeeping supervisor. Yeah, long-winded answer to a very short question. Um, Austin, I don't think I've ever taken public transportation in another country. I always take like Uber or Grab. Not saying I wouldn't. That's probably something else I'm gonna do when I get my travel partner. Elf Everywhere says the reason people have these problems with work is because school never taught them to think outside the box. I do think that is part of it. I mean, school. I've always said public schools are indoctrination camps, and that's not a slight at teachers. That's just the way it's set up. You're taught from day one to like raise your hand if you need to go to the bathroom. We tell you when you can go to the bathroom. Listen, you're taught to follow direction. You're taught to live life a certain way. School doesn't have to be the way it is. The kids could all sit around in a circle and everybody talk, and we could all learn. Um, but it's set up the way it is. Teachers at the front, kids all listen, raise your hand to answer. Blah blah blah. I don't even know if they do that in school anymore. These days, the kids probably just text the teacher the answer. I don't know, but you know, it's set up for you to think like here is the curriculum. We will test you on it, and we grade your test and let you know whether you got it right or not. If you get it, if we say you got it right, it's right. If we say you got it wrong, you're stupid. And you just naturally take that thought process through college. Same thing. Not dissing college again, but here is the curriculum. We tell you if you did it right or not. No one's ever like, hey, you figure something out, and it is what it is. You're taught to be, your thoughts are in the box. Someone above you will always tell you if you did it right or not. We're not taught to like figure it out on your own. Yeah, so I agree with that. Yeah. What up, Alvin Anthony? How you doing? Hey, King, I feel you on that. Trying to invest in yourself, work a good job, and quit. You got enough. Exactly. He said retirement money's nothing. I feel you. David said it's tough to get a good woman when you're shy and low income. I mean, I think the shy part plays a lot in that. Like respect, what I mean, and not. It just is what it is. Like we all have our strengths, and I think we all have traits that maybe we would change if we could, or are working on changing. And there are some. If you have an outgoing personality, you're probably going to meet more men, more women, just the way it is. I mean, so I would agree with that. But once again, we all have strengths that probably help us in other areas. So, I may not be the best at going up to women and talking to them, but like I can talk in general. No, you know what I mean? So like I just think it all balances out. We all got our stuff. Um, and I'm always like, okay, what am I good at? And let me double down on that. And maybe that'll somehow circle back and help me in the other area. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it helps. It doesn't help us to like make blanket negative statements a lot of times in our life, um, without trying to figure out some type of solution or something. Jay Cortez, I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you. Oh, peace, love, light 100. Yeah, yeah. If you send yeah, if you send a message, and I think if I don't follow you, it'll say it has to be accepted, and that's a different folder on my phone. So I don't get on Instagram a ton, and sometimes I forget to check that folder. I think so. Sometimes the message will sit there for a while. Um, so I apologize for that, but I've always been like, yeah, like IG is. I don't get on there a ton, so sometimes it'll be a while before I check a message. But sometimes, like I do like to go back and like, so it'll be like 4 weeks, and I'll answer somebody's message. I do try to get in there and answer them, but it takes a while sometimes. I admit that. I admit that. Green smog. There are some people who live without money. I think for most of us, though, we need some money. Okay. Like I said, money's not real, but you kind of need it. Which some people would argue that makes it real. So it becomes a very whatever argument. But like I said, I'm not anti-money. But I mean, Suelo, the man who quit money, which I think he's back to using money, but he lived without money for a while. It was rough, but like I'm bigger on living spending less money. You know, I think some of the financial holes we get into sometimes is not so much the amount of money we make, but how we spend our money. Days like this, maybe not, but in the past, a lot of when the economy was good, um, a lot of it was the way we were spending our money, and it wasn't so much the amount of money we had. Um, so I'm big on being able to live with less money personally. Corlivia, how you doing? People who are always on their phone. I mean, I do think phone addiction is an issue that we're gonna in future realize that it was a bigger issue than we think it is now. Um, but and once again, it's one of those technologies that if you give us the ability to always have something going on, as humans, we can't resist that, or we have to try very hard to resist that. Um, so I get it. I'm a big believer on turning your phone off, putting it to the side, at least for certain hours of the day or something like that. But um, I get why people are addicted to their phones. It's just something going on 24/7. No matter what time of day, I can get on my phone and be engaged. So I get it. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm gonna take a little break. We back. Oh yeah, peace, love, light 100. Yeah, please message me again. Please do. Um, yeah, drinking's been costing you a lot more money lately, Green Small. Oh, well, everything going on. Yeah, we going Brian. Yeah, we need to start. The Amish is like we told y'all. We've been telling y'all. Jamie, oh, I mean, I was heavy on Daniel Suelo. You know what I mean? I read the book. I've read the book several times. I've reviewed the book on here. Yeah, man. I went through a big phase of And this was very helpful for me in learning to like live on less. And when when I was trying to lower my bills and minimalism, all that, examples like him, and guys like I think like Rob Greenfield and other people who just didn't spend a lot of money were really helpful in allowing me to see like, oh, it is possible. If y'all hear a noise, it's the coffee maker. Erase it, but the Fed said the economy's booming and doing better than ever. Yeah, imagine that. They should let, they should let Walmart be open 24 hours again so we can work on beating our phone addiction. So what? Just get a walk around Walmart from reward. Hey, maybe if the malls came back. Um, Antonio, I am a proud minimalist. Minimalism to me doesn't mean living on as little as humanly possible. I think that's a common misconception that is fueled by so many people doing these videos like I only have 10 possessions. Um, Minimalism to me means living on what I need and then just like a little more because I want it, but not just blindly just consuming because it's there. So yeah, I'm a proud minimalist, but I'm not living on as little as possible. I'm pretty extreme. All my stuff fits in two suitcases, except for like one, box I have of important stuff I don't want to travel with. But I don't have to be that extreme. I could buy a house and it'd be furnished fully, and I would still consider myself a minimalist because I would only furnish it with stuff I needed. Um, so yeah, that's my definition of minimalism. Even I think people are shy just because they were born shy. Like, can you develop some shy tendencies if certain things happen in your life? Yes. Could some of it have to do with self-esteem? Yes. But I think some people are just shy. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just different. I think it's just different. You know, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think we have to be outgoing. That's just a personality type. Some people outgoing, some people shy. Like, I don't think one's better than the other. Will you probably meet more people if you're outgoing? Yes, but then you'll probably have more people in your life. If you're shy, you don't run into as many people, you got less drama. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Austin, yeah, I would visit. I definitely want to visit Russia when it calms down over there. I got some friends out there, which I think they're in Australia now. So, but yeah, my wanting to visit certain countries would only be influenced by the relationship they have with the U.S., like safety wise. If I could go there and be fine, well, I don't care about the political stuff. Um, it ain't got nothing to do with me. So yeah. Life is good. I don't have any plans about the car. So if the day rolls around and I'm like, I want a car again, then I'll get a car. But if I go all 2024 and I'm like, I don't want a car, then I won't have one. So I really don't have a plan or a window for like, I need a car by. It's really just like, if the situation presents itself, I'm like, I think I can get a car. I think I want a car. But if it doesn't, like, I don't know. Yeah. So we'll see. Have I ever considered running a marathon? Nah, I don't know if a marathon is my thing, Praveen. I wouldn't mind like maybe a half marathon, like walking a half marathon, maybe, but I don't think I want to run a marathon. Have I ever tried caviar? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think I want to. Fortnite said I'm and I think some of that aggression is part of the times we live in. I think some people I think aren't naturally aggressive. They feel the need to be for whatever reason. Michelle Brown said, I decided to reduce my life needs, become a minimalist. I filed for bankruptcy, gave 90% of my things away, reduced my phone. Nice, nice. Let's go. Start checking in from London. Okay. Across the pond. How you doing? How you doing? Praveen, thank you so much. Thank you, Praveen. Super Chat Squad, that is love. So days off are like water in a desert. Enjoy it. Facts. Facts. Enjoyed it. Facts. Facts. You know? So work is like the desert. Facts. I love that. Hang on, folks. I gotta get my coffee. I don't need this coffee. I don't need this coffee. I may not even drink all of it, but my energy was waning. So I was like, let me grab a little Java. And there's a Keurig in my Airbnb, so that's always a problem. I told you, whenever I have a coffee maker in the room, it's a problem because I don't have to walk in or drive. Well, these days, walk and go get the coffee. Cheers. Thank you. For my lifestyle, ebook would probably work. If I stayed in places longer, if I stayed somewhere for like a year or whatever, yeah, I get any. But like, me, I'd be somewhere a week. I mean, excuse me, a month, and I leave. So at this, like, and I don't think I really need any type of transportation. Like anywhere I can get on an e-bike, I can walk probably. So yeah, like it's not if I feel like I want some transportation, I'll probably just get a car. Unless I was somewhere where like a little moped or a scooter would work. But like I just don't feel like I need transportation right now. So we'll see. Not saying I wouldn't get an e-bike, but I'm trying to envision a scenario where I would like now if I did like a sponsored ad for a company that gave me an e-bike, oh, I'll take it. But I feel like if I was going to buy a decent e-bike, I would just like buy a car. Like I don't know, it's too strong. I've gone out to the Dunkin' Donuts. It's weak. I like it. It's sugary. When I was in Colorado, Avery, yes, I had my car in Colorado. So, but I have the first time I went to the Y, I didn't have a car. So I have lived in Colorado without a car, but most of the time I had a car. Yeah, yeah. Like I don't mind walking. Like yesterday, I said in the stream yesterday, that was probably the first time I missed having a car because I had to walk to the store to get food in the rain. And I was like, yeah, it'd be nicer to have a car right now. But it was cool to like have to put myself in that situation. And I remembered, I was like, well, Tim, you used to pride yourself on walking in the rain, walking in the cold, walking miles and miles and miles. You know what I mean? Even when I had a car, I would like take my car to the shop and walk back home and then walk to go pick it back up. Like I used to do a lot more of that type of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of enjoying being that guy again. Not to mention, people always look at you crazy when you're walking. I kind of like that. I don't know why. I kind of like that people, oh, look at this broke dude walking. Okay. He's kind of funny. Um, but yeah, I'm just like, I don't, yeah, walking's good. Definitely helps with the mind. Yeah, clears your mind. I don't know. Like I don't mind walking. Days like yesterday when I have to walk in the rain, it's kind of like, ugh. But in general, like it's not like when I have a car, I drive. When I don't, like I just, it's not like when I'm about to go somewhere, I'm like, oh man, if I had my car. It's just like, oh no, okay, I know it's a 20-minute walk. Boom, I'll go, like it doesn't, unless it's like really cold or like raining, like it doesn't. And even then, it's just a thought. Cause like if I really wanted a car, I would just go get a car. So like it doesn't, you know what I mean? So yeah. Are Salt Lake City and Denver similar in any way? They're close to mountains, but I feel like that's probably the only similarities off the top of my head I can think of. Yeah. But yeah, Salt Lake City is actually pretty cool. Actually, I could see myself going back to Salt Lake City. Oh, Pop, glad you like the merch. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I didn't spend too much time in Salt Lake City, but I definitely like the vibe. I left because I was going to go start working, but I can see myself going back to Salt Lake City. Yeah, Salt Lake City was cool. Kareem's about to walk in the neighborhood 3 miles. Okay. Say hello to the neighbors while you're doing it. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I like to pretty much everywhere I'm at, I find like a place to walk. I gotta find a place to walk here. But that's something I like to do. Like I just to get out the house, do something different, just walk for the sake of walking. I like that. Some people like our soul like to greet the dogs. I don't. It's like people get weird when they walk past you with their dog and you don't look at the dog and go, oh, I don't pay the dog no attention. I don't. Jonas, I have not been to Europe yet. It's on the list though. But once it's one of the places I'm waiting to go with somebody. But yeah, Europe's on the list. I gotta go. I gotta go. Queen Butterfly says I say hi to the dog, not the owner. That's what most people do. I'm the opposite. I'll look at the owner like, hey, and they'll be like, you didn't see that? I'm like, I don't care about your little dog. Respectfully. Oh, Jazz, the journey would be a lot different if I didn't have a YouTube channel. Because this YouTube channel, especially times like this when I'm not working and really don't have much to do all day, um, it just gives me, I get interaction, gives me an outlet. Um, Not to mention the journey would be different from my financial standpoint. Like if I didn't have YouTube, like I wouldn't be able to take as much time off. So yeah, my whole journey would be a lot different without YouTube. So hashtag blessed. They even said not liking animals is a red flag for you. Hey, I respect that. I respect that. I respect that. We all got our own red flags. So someone who likes and no, I'm not gonna say that. That would have been petty. I'm not gonna say that because it's not true. I was about to be petty. I'm not gonna be petty. Okay, moving on. Juliet, yeah, yeah. I mean, London is top of the list. So I want to hit London and then some other cities in Europe. For me, I've never been skiing, but I've worked at ski resorts. So but I've never been skiing. I never had the desire to ski, but I've worked at ski resorts. So I've been in the mix, but I've never actually mixed. Yeah, I mean, Master Rich Friedman said, my reply to the title is no, it's not. Facts. Oh, I mean, I mean, it's okay. It's okay for you to be like, that's a red flag to me. That's fine. Like you're allowed to have your own red flags. Like it's not an insult. Like you're allowed. I was just gonna say something petty. I was gonna say anybody who thinks that's a red flag is a red flag to me. Like anybody who likes animals enough that they think is a red flag that I don't like them is a red flag to me. I was gonna say that, but it's not true. I was just gonna say that to be petty, but it's not true, so I didn't say it. That's all I was gonna say. I wasn't gonna say nothing crazy, but yeah, it would have been petty because it's not true. I know people who love animals. Um, I got a really good friend who loves her dogs, so I respect that. I just don't. It's just that when people expect me to treat their pets or see their pets the way they do, it's weird to me. Like if we're walking past each other and you get mad because I don't look at your dog, bro, like what are we doing there? What are we doing? But you walk right past that homeless person and didn't look at them. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You have the right to think what you want of your pets. Don't put that on me. Don't have your dog run up to me and bother me and you think it's cute. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Mr. Girl said, I think shy people tend to crave more stimulating conversation like Tim Channel. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. The multiplex said, given the topic, I'm 22, 23, and you're both 22 and 23? Okay. And I can say work isn't really fulfilling whatsoever, and there are not much avenues to grow as a person to even own anything anymore. You know that you're that generation. That's one of the sad things is things like home ownership and a lot of stuff like that that used to be a staple. You know, I never wanted to own a home, but um, that used to be something a lot of people aspire to, and it's not a bad goal. It should be attainable if you want that. So yeah, for the generations coming up now, and they're like, I don't envision me ever owning a home unless I hit the lottery. It's like crazy, you know. And then when you add on that, like you said, work's just not fulfilling. You're not like, oh, if I buckle down and work hard for 5 years, I can put a good down payment on that nice house I want. You know, yeah, you start to be like, well, what's the point? What's the point? If you know what I mean? If the payoff isn't there, why am I putting in the work? Which is very sad, you know. That girl said, "Yeah, I don't be looking at dogs. I have zero interest. I don't want to greet no dogs. I don't care if it's rude. I don't even greet my dog." But that's the thing. Like, it's not rude. People think it's perfectly natural for two people to walk past each other and not speak. But if I don't look at your dog, it's a problem. Like, it's not rude. It's just like I don't have to do nothing. You don't even greet your own dog. That might be a little rude. That girl. You know? Yeah, yeah. Now, if I see a dog I do want to look at and, oh, cool. But like, I'm not just gonna because it's a dog pay attention, especially when there's a lot of humans that could use our help. We don't pay attention to. That's all I'm saying. Jonas says you can still buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. Wow, wow. You know, I got to give it to the cryptos. The fact that people think that they're the be all end all and the savior. You know, there's a lot of people who think Christ came back and he came back in crypto form. Uh, that was good. That was going out. That was good. That was Christ came back as a cryptocurrency. Um, hey, I respect people's opinions, man. It's just and not coming at you, Jonas, but it's just I see so many people that whenever we have a video talking about like stuff, their answer is always Bitcoin. How do I find a mate? Go to a Bitcoin convention. You know, work sucks. Buy Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Inflation. Buy Bitcoin. Uh, there's no good presidential candidates. Elect Bitcoin. Like you know what I mean? It's always Bitcoin. So that's why I kind of poke fun because it is like always in the chat, no matter what we're talking about. Good thing you sold your car. Now you can buy Bitcoin. Okay, that was actually. I'm proud of myself on that. Ah, oh man. Oh man, that was funny. Yes, Slayer. It is funny that, and I understand it, but no matter the issue, people are like, "Well, let's make money. That'll solve it." You know, I've noticed that too. We're good about like, well, what's the, this. We'll just make more money. Interesting. You know what I mean? I just sit back and look at stuff. Yeah, do this and you'll be saved. And we do that, I think, sometimes when we don't have an answer, we just pick something. Like it's hard to go through life when there's no solutions. when we seem overwhelmed. So we have the, I call it like the savior complex, where we'll pick a person or we'll pick some type of medium or outlet, and that's our savior. And no matter what happens, we double down on that. The worse the world gets, the more we double down. That's the answer. This political candidate's the answer. This investment is the answer. No matter what, if I do this, I'm fine. And we just hold on to that, because if we let go of that, we have nothing. People do this with religion. No matter what's going on in the religion, the church, whatever, they hold on, because if they let go, they got nothing. And I get it. Do what you do. I agree with that, CB. Money can provide comfort, but not buy happiness. And yes, I agree with that. Julia's like, I keep telling y'all codependency. It's just, that is one thing I've gotten from the internet and like reading thousands of responses, on a regular, on a weekly basis, probably, is you see patterns, you know, you see patterns. And I'd be like, man, like, no matter what we're talking about, that's the answer. Like, and Alfonso, when I say religion, there's a difference between religion and God. So I totally understand people having a relationship with God and holding on to that, because I think that's life stuff. That's real. I have a relationship with God that means the world to me. Religion is something different, and I've seen even when the church or the religion veers away from God, people still hold on to the church or the religion because it's all they got. Because we've been taught that you can't come to God on your own, which that's a whole other topic. But yeah, even when people's like, oh, they see obvious flaws in the structure and the organization, they still hold on because they can't, they have to have something to hold on to. And I get it. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, you know, yeah, God is, you know, can we even define what God is? So that's totally different than hanging on to an asset class or religion. Crypto hunter, I would agree that it's hard to work for yourself if you don't have money. I would also agree. I would also say that it's easier than it's ever been. You know, Before it was impossible to work for yourself if you don't have any money. Now it's possible. Still hard because the cost of entry is so low for a lot of like online stuff. Anybody can do it with very little money. So it's harder to be successful at it, but it's easier to try than like, in my parents' day, there were really no opportunities, you know, to start a business with no money or very little money. So it's easier, but yeah, still hard. Do that. Like go to benefit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just kind of sit back and without judgment, which that's important. A lot of people look at other people and judge. I try to do it without any judgment. We all judge, but I try to do it without judgment and just see why people do what they do. But I get it. The world can be a very lonely, dangerous place. So if people find something to hold on to, I get it. I ain't mad at it. But like, it's when people try to force their hold on to onto you and want you to hold on to it too. It's just like, bro, like I'm not there. But yeah, for me, my parents are baby boomers. Yeah, I mean they like have to be, wouldn't it? Jamie said online is just selling products and services boring. Respectfully, I disagree, but that is a part of it. But um, if you think that's true, then it will be that for you. But the internet The beauty of the internet is that anybody can start a website about anything. So if you don't like products and services, will or selling products and services, you literally tomorrow can start a website or hop on a social media platform and do anything you want, you know? Right? There's no rules. You can hop on the internet, start selling anything or talking about anything or doing whatever. It's literally wide open. It's the wild, wild west out there. Now, the issue is anybody can do that. So you got to be good at it, you know, but you literally can make online anything you want. And that's the beauty of it, you know? Gary Vee always talks about like, there's never been a time in history when you could make a living talking about whatever your passion is. If you like Winnie the Pooh, you can start a Winnie the Pooh podcast, and make 60 grand a year eventually. Now you got to be good. You better know your poo. Okay. But you got, you know what I mean? The internet is wide open, but you got to put the work in. Um, so yeah, I love the internet because there's so many opportunities. Yeah. Yo, grandmama turned 96 in January. Praveen, shout out to her. Shout out to Granny Praveen. Are there really any original ideas? There's variations on old ideas. I'll say that. For example, Uber wasn't an original idea. Driving people where they need to go. There have been taxis, but it was a variation on that. You know what I mean? So like with new technology and new times comes new variations. So, but I mean, if you're looking at owning your own business, working online from a negative perspective, it's probably not going to work for you because like you're not the people it works for are the people who see the opportunity. If you look at something and you're like, "Oh, I think I can make that work," it's probably gonna work for you. But if you look at something and be like, "Oh, that's dumb," it's not gonna work for you. So it's probably better to look elsewhere, and that's fine. Everything isn't meant for everybody, but it's the areas where we look and we're like, "Oh, I like that." That's probably where we do best because we have an open mind about it from the jump. But when someone has a closed mind about something, or they just don't view it the way other people view it, it's very hard to convince them to do it. So if you're looking at something and you're like, I don't know if that's gonna, then yeah, it's probably not the move. You know, that's a T-shirt. Know your poo, um, with an H. Okay. Hey, Ava, I'm glad I could put you on Alan Watts, man. Lee, I love Alan Watts. You're right. That's a good point, Sir Steve's. Like the gym is like the one place people really, kind of see other people. And I haven't been to the gym in years, but from what I've heard, it's not very social a lot of times. Like people doing their own thing on their own machine. But yeah, I feel like the gym is kind of the new, which that's even telling. Like our ancestors didn't need to go to the gym because they like did physical stuff. Now we have to pay to go somewhere to like do physical stuff, which I can't talk these days. I just sit around the house. But yeah, it's just kind of telling. Nah, nothing. Nah, you can't. Nah, nothing's rhetorical. Nah, nothing's rhetorical. That ain't the way this works. Unless you put this is rhetorical afterwards. Like you can't put something in the chat and say it's rhetorical. Nah, nah. Even in real life, when like someone will say something, then you respond to like that was rhetorical. No, you can't say it. You can't tell me if it's rhetorical. You know what I mean? Um, mm, mm. Monique says I have a full time job. I work DoorDash in my free time. I love all the gig work. Work when you want. Want two options available today? Yes, yes. And once again, that's another example of there's opportunities available to us now that weren't in the past. And I think that is the universe at play. I think it's like as you'll notice as standard work gets crummier and crummier and crappier and crappier, the technologies we invent start to make it. make more options for us to go away from that. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think the universe always is working towards balance. And it's just like, oh, and maybe it's also too, we think more about it. Oh, these jobs suck. What else can we do? But you know what I mean? But you'll notice when things start to really get out of whack, the solutions start to slowly appear. And then the day comes when it just, it gets so out of whack, it's boom. But you'll notice that. I always see that. Like, oh, like the crummier work gets, suddenly we have the internet. Suddenly we have gig jobs. Suddenly we have all this other stuff. So there's starting to be solutions just kind of organically coming about as we need them. I always telling you, universe. Mhm. Yeah, our soul. That's funny. People drive to the gym to exercise. People drive to the gym to walk on a treadmill. So why you just didn't walk to the gym? They're like, ugh. Yeah. Drive to the gym to walk on a treadmill. Okay. Mecker drives to the park to ride the bike. Hey, do what you do. That is kind of funny though. Yeah, why not just walk to the, you know, art dog, that thumbnail picture as you're thinking about every day at work. Hey, yeah, yeah. I'm glad I got to use that. I had that picture for some months now. So I'm glad I finally got to use it. I found that if I take thumbnail pictures, when I always come up with a good video for it later. So that's one thing I'm trying to do more of. Instead of usually I just like do a video and try to come up with a thumbnail or just use whatever thumbnail YouTube uses but picks. But like when I actively take thumbnail pictures, even if I don't need them, I always come up with something good for it down the line. Like it always works out. Well, a good portion of the time it works out. So my best live stream ever, the one about being an introvert that I think is up to like 70,000 views or something. It might be more than that. Hold on. Let me just check. Let me see what we got going on her. Hold on. I'm curious. See what we got with that line. Sure, oh, it's got 101,000 views. Okay, bet. My best live stream ever. That just cracked 100,000. Um, that was a thumbnail. It's just me sitting on the bed. Like I took that picture weeks in advance, and then one day I was like, "Oh, I can use that to do." Anyway, um, yeah, that's a hack I'm using for myself. Oh, B. Bennett says it's not safe to walk to the gym. It's not safe to go to the park. I live in the hood. Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. Hey, well, yeah, do what you gotta do. Drive, please. Mecca, what up? Today's your favorite day? Okay, okay. Because it's Tuesday or because it's the 6th? Is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Okay. 4:36. I stopped playing World of Warcraft back in the day. Just I forget why. Like, why did I stop? Oh, I think I moved. Like I had my own apartment back when WoW first came out, and then I moved and I was like renting a room, and I don't think the Wi-Fi was that good or something. It was something like that. I might even sold my computer. I'm not sure, but it was just wasn't feasible anymore. And then when I tried to play it recently, it just got too demony and witchy and all that type stuff. I used to play WoW. I used to love WoW. Yeah, I would routinely pass up fun time with my female friends to play WoW. Like I didn't care. Man, bro. I'm like, like you be on WoW and you be like, you fought your way because I never played with other people, so I never did raids or all that other stuff. So like, there's certain quests I'd go on that like it would take a while to get. You have to go up deep in some cave or something. And I just worked my way in there, and then it takes you a while to work your way out. Unless like a group of other people came in, you could follow them. You know, but I'd be deep in some cave and like, all right, I found the crate, the chest I needed to open to get whatever, and now I need to come out, and like it's gonna take me 30 minutes to get out of here. Just like what I play like a night elf druid, I think. So I had the you had the little invisibility. So it's gonna take me a while to like get invisible and wait for the orcs to walk past. You know what I mean? All that type stuff. So she might show up. I'm I'm like, sis, like I got to do this I gotta finish this. I gotta get. I'm like, when I get out the cave, you know what I mean? And it might take me 45 minutes. You know, I don't know. Like, she get mad and leave, but I'm like, you gonna be back around here 2 days from now. This quest, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to. You know what I mean? I don't know. Now that I'm a little older, um, I would never be like that. But when you in your 20s and when you got a full dance card, like, you don't be, in that time, the World of Warcraft quest seemed more important than a little cuddle time. You know, might be a little different now, um, since the dance card isn't full. You know, to 333 is a sign from the universe and where I'm supposed to be. Hey, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. Good advice for 20-year-olds. Ooh, I mean, in what regard? My overall advice is to anybody, but definitely younger people. Like, I love womb to tomb. Looking at life and realizing it's an experience, and you just got to get from womb to tomb. You're 20, you got 80, 60 to 80 more years left. Um, Enjoy it best you can. Like, when you have to work, when you have to put yourself in situations where maybe you're doing something you don't need to do what you got to do to take care of you and your family when you have one. Handle your responsibilities, but beyond that, like, realize that you're put here to enjoy life. You're put here to be happy. You're put here to experience this amazing planet. When that's your overall view, then it becomes okay. There's other stuff I do because I got to, but every chance I get, I'm back doing the things I love with the people I love. I think you'll have a totally different life when your decisions are based on that than when your decisions are based on, like, money, power, prestige, and all this other stuff that society dangles in front of you. Yeah, Avon, I totally agree. I don't think we should keep track of our ages. After like 21, we should be done. Once you get legal, we should never keep track of it anymore. Because so many people say, "Oh man, I'm 30. I'm so far behind in life. I'm 40. I'm so." It means nothing. Age means nothing. If you're gonna live to be 100, what does 30 mean? If you're gonna live to be 45, what does 30 mean? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. We just we get so worked up about our age, and I get it. But yeah, I'm done with that coffee. It doesn't mean anything. It's just another metric society puts on us to pressure us into behaving certain ways. I mean, yeah, nobody's trying to age, but we do. So, like, and honestly, I don't think we mind aging. I think we mind the aches and pains and the lack of good looks that come with it. I don't mind aging. When I look in the mirror and I look older, I'm like, ooh. When I get out of bed and I'm like, ugh, I just get random aches and pains. I'm like, ugh. But as far as, like, getting older and wiser and more experienced in life, I love that. It's just that other stuff that comes with it we don't like. But, like, I don't think we mind getting older. Praveen said the age of the universe is 14 billion years old. I would rather not live to 15 billion. Don't worry, you won't. No, I feel you. I feel you. Hey, on the Call Empath podcast. First off, let's just say you're doing good for yourself. You made some really good decisions. Um, I would say though, and I think you're since you put that in the chat, I think you know that you might be being just a little, perhaps a little too afraid. Um, my answer to your comment would be, can you start out spending a little bit of it? Like now, if you're not spending anything, can you identify something you would like to spend some money on that's relatively inexpensive and try that? Because yeah, I don't think you'll be able to at this moment open the floodgates and blow money. Not saying you should, but I think if you could start to spend a little of that, because obviously you're feeling like maybe you should. Um, if you could start to do some things like take a vacation, come from under the rock, some things that it seems like you're probably feeling like you want to do. If you could start out slowly doing some of that, okay, I'm gonna take a 2 day vacation, identify a place I want to go. I'm gonna take a weekend vacation there. I'm gonna fly there, spend some time there, come home, and then just kind of see how that makes you feel. And if it makes you feel like, oh, I spent entirely too much money, well, then don't do it no more. But most likely, you probably, man, that was fun, and it didn't. I'm not dead, and I'm not broke, so you might do it a little more. You know, because yeah, you want to. I was recently reading that book, Die with Zero, and it was just saying like, if we never, money is basically a store of energy. You put your time and energy, and they give you this money. If you never use it, then you just wasted that time and energy. Why did you put all this time and energy into working to get money if you're never going to use the money? So you just gave away that time and energy, basically your life, if you're never going to use it. Thought that was interesting. Dark Inception said, "I'm not afraid of aging or death. To be honest, as a pride was getting old, dying, and becoming one with the greater universe." Facts, facts. Death is just a doorway, just from humanity to whatever. Like it's not. And there's definitely a pride with getting older. You know, Sadly, I know a lot of people who never made 30, never made 40. So, I'm glad I was able to. I feel super blessed. Um, and part of me wants to do it for them. You know what I mean? When if I'm blessed to make 50, I'm one of us. We made 50. You know what I mean? Every decade I make, even every year, um, I feel blessed that I was able to do it. And on some level, I'm doing it for them because they, you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of people in my, fell to drugs. My 20s, I was in, late teens and 20s, well, 20s. I was in North Florida, and like it's a smaller rural area, and when the pills and everything came through, man, it was different. Like it, what I mean? It went from partying, drinking, maybe some of the harder stuff every now and then to them pills came through and people start dropping dead, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, there is something to aging and being like, hey, I made it. I was blessed to be able to make it to this age, you know? Austin's world, you feeling old at 30? Don't worry, it gets worse. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I think society teaches us we're old at certain ages, you know? We glorify youth and all that. Rarely do we glorify, you know, older age. Like, what is that show? The Golden Bachelor? I was bowled over when I saw that. I've never watched it. But I was like, wow, they actually have a show showing older people. Like, we don't do that, you know? We need more stuff like that. Austin, exactly. Yeah, a lot of ODing. Sadly in certain areas, it's it's different, huh? Yeah, and on-call impact. In this society, that's a understandable concern. You know, But yeah, you know what I mean. You want to, but here's the thing: it's one of those concerns that if you had $1 million in the bank, you'd have the same concern because it's on some level unfounded after a certain money amount. Um, you know, yeah. What up, Robert? Robert's feeling better at 50 than he did at 30. It says 3, but I think he meant 30. Okay, yeah, he said oops 30. Oh, I'll say, damn, I felt good at 3. Boy, I was in my prime at 3. Okay. Um, Loneliness, feeling lost. You yeah. Because then you sit around and you start dwelling on age and all this other stuff. When you're, out and about, hanging out with your friends, feeling good, you don't have time to dwell on all that. You know, when you're out with your friends, it doesn't occur to you that you're 50. You know what I mean? You're just having fun. But when you're sitting around alone, you're like, oh man, I'm 50, oh boy. It's yeah, yeah. It's a byproduct. You know, that's my motto is do what you love with people you love, and I'm really trying to hold to that. I like one of the things I pray for on a regular basis is I want to find that in-person community. I got my online community. It's amazing. It really helps me out. But I'm like, I want that in-person community. Of when, like a day like today, when I get off here, I call someone, hey, let's go get lunch. Let's go get a late lunch, whatever, like that type of when I do want to hang around people, there's people there. But that takes work to find. So I'm in the process of finding that. But yeah, Les Talk said, always say you're only as old as you feel. Happy Tuesday to you, by the way. Um, yeah, and I think a lot of our views on age make us feel older. Like when you think 30's old, you're gonna feel old at 30. When you think 40, like people are like, oh, 40 is it. I'm like, it's over at 40. What does that even mean? I'm like, bro, you got 50 more years to live. If you really think your life is over at 40, you got a long not life then ahead of you. Um, but like this once again, our society glorifies youth. And and then yeah, once you get a certain age, you stop being glorified. You know what I mean? I mean, we do it with our celebrities. They get a certain age, it's like, unless they look good, but like just a regular, average looking celebrity, as soon as they hit a certain age, they start having to get work done, all kind of stuff. Because like, you can't just look normal. You can't just be a normal 45-year-old woman in Hollywood. No, you know what I mean? It's crazy. So, what message does that send to younger people? You know, it's only over when it's over. I agree. I agree. Yes, Slayer. And thank you for that positive encouragement, and I firmly agree. I firmly believe, excuse me, that I will find it. It's just putting in the work to find it. I won't find it until I put in the work to find it. It's just like with a mate. Like you put in the work to find one, you'll eventually find one if it's meant for you to find one. You know what I mean? So that's the way I view things. It's I try not to look things as like, oh man, I don't have this. It's like, okay, what steps can I take today to find that? What can I do today that will help me in finding that? Going after that. It's an opportunity. If I don't have something in my life and I want it in my life, well, this is an opportunity to take action to get that. So what do I need to do? And it's almost like a game. Like, ooh, tomorrow I get to do. You know what I mean? As opposed to just sitting around moping about it. Like, what is that? Where does that get me? That really makes people want to be around me. I agree. Let's talk. Yeah, once I got in my 40s, there's a lot of things that don't matter to me that were the world to me when I was younger. A lot of stuff that now I'm just like, some of it is, some of it I like to attribute to growth, but some of it I think is just age. Like I just don't, just one day I stopped caring. I'm like, you know, yeah. Sometimes I look back like, why don't I care about that no more? I'm like, oh, I guess it's just age. Vinny, I agree. I agree. Said I believe that being one with nature and getting outdoors to find what life is about, even getting out to a local scenic spot helps with anxiety. I agree. Nature is the best. Makes us realize how small we are. Facts. Nature is really good for popping that ego bubble, that ego we got going on. And yeah, I know for me, definitely it helps with anxiety. When I'm somewhere and there's water and there's green grass and the sun shining, oh man, love it. Just like I just oof, just at peace. The city's cool, but it don't ever really make me at peace. You know. True. I don't really play a lot of games. I play a little Age of Empires sometimes from time to time these days. Examples of what I don't care about anymore. I'll give you a big one. Is like sex. That used to be all your boy. I was trying to get notches on the belt. That's all I cared about. Whatever. Temp, she ain't even cute. It's a notch. You know what I mean? Um, you know what I mean? It was a big deal to me to be hooking up all that. These days, I really don't care. I really don't care. It's almost too far to the other degree because I'll be in a situation and I'm just like, she'd be like, what? I'm just like, yeah. Part of me thinks my testosterone levels are down. Too much information. I'm sorry. But that's one thing that was huge in my life in the past. And now I'm just like, that's why people are like, when you gonna date, when you gonna be in a relationship? I'm like, I just really don't. uh, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't. Yeah, I just don't care no more. And I think a lot of that is age. Like, you know, I just, yeah. And I actually think it's great. You know what I mean? Because I made a lot of decisions when I was younger that got me in a lot of trouble because I was chasing carnal relations. Now I don't really. It's hard to get me to, in that regard, I'm not gonna do nothing crazy because I don't care. You know, you do a lot of crazy stuff when you horny. Trust me, boy. Be red flags and stop signs, all kind of stuff. You go right through 'em. Bull to the slaughter, boy. Now I'm just like, one red flag. I'm like, no, one slightly not as green flag. I'm like, no, I'm good. What's the point? You know. And the funny thing is, when you say something like that, so many people will try to give you advice on like getting back to that. That's what's crazy to me. If I'm like, yeah, I just don't care about sex anymore like I used to. People, oh, try this. Why? I don't need to. Why? It's funny. Like this is how you can tell what things we have like a warped view of. If you say, I don't care about this anymore, and it's not something life changing. If you're like, I don't care about eating anymore, I understand people are like, yeah, you need to try this to get your appetite back, or you'll die. But if you're like, yeah, I just don't care about, and people are like, oh no, no, try this. Like, why? Like, it's not a necessity, bro. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. Do I have any moral dilemmas with using prostitutes? My dilemma with that is a lot of prostitutes are doing it against their will. I have a moral dilemma with that. Like, if you pay for a service from someone who's being trafficked or something like that, that's wrong. If someone is just like of their own volition providing that service, I don't have a moral dilemma with it. I'm not saying I do it because there's, risk involved. But like, I don't have a moral dilemma with someone being like, hey, I'll perform this service for you for a fee. And you being like, okay, that's a business transaction. So I don't have a moral dilemma with that. But you using someone who's providing that service and you not knowing the backstory, I feel like you open yourself up to all that negative energy that that person is going through. Um, so that's my view of it. Living with rent is great. Social. I don't like rent, so it's great. You still have to. I still have to pay for Airbnbs and stuff, but yeah, I enjoy not having rent. I enjoy the ability to decide how much I'm going to pay for rent each month. If that makes any sense. Oh, sorry. Interesting. But yeah, I take my moral code very seriously. Um, and so there's routinely, in certain situations, I'm just like, how does this fit with my moral code? Because that's something that matters to me. The rest of the stuff don't matter, but that matter. I feel like that's my moral code. I feel like is a part of me. A lot of stuff in my life is the human Timothy Ward, if you will. This body, a lot of this stuff is human. I do feel like some of it is actually me, and I like to think my moral code will, on some way, shape, and form, will go with me when I'm no longer a human. I almost feel like my moral code is intertwined with the energy that's actually me. That which is actually me in this body, the moral code is part of that, or affects it. So that's important to me. Like if it goes against my moral code, I'm not trying to do it, bro. Like I don't care what it's gonna get me. You know. M A. This for you. Work.com. Pretty lady, here for the conversation. Rob, I've never been to Nairobi, Kenya. No, that's a very specific question. But no, I haven't been. The most luxurious Airbnb. When I was in Vegas, I stayed in a really nice house. That, yeah, it was a nice house. Like when I seen the pictures, I was like, no way. But it was a really nice house. Super, super nice host. But it was a really nice house. Yeah, like it was in a neighborhood. Like one time, my Uber driver dropped me off after like a WNBA game, and he was like, "Man, this is a nice neighborhood." And I'm like, "It is." And I'm like, "Wait a second, why are you so surprised I'm here?" Um, but it was obvious I currently couldn't afford a house in that neighborhood. But never say never. That's scarcity mindset. But yeah, it was really nice. Like it was nice. It was nice. Yeah. And first thing I did was drop something and it messed up the dresser. It like I forget what it was I dropped, but it like did a gouge on one of the drawers on the dresser. And I was like, yeah. And then I end up messing up the tabletop, the desktop. So I warmed something up in the microwave and I put it on top of the desk and it like messed the paint up. And so once I both of that happened within 2 days. And I was like, and I went to the lady and I was like, "Hey, I got something to show you." I didn't. In hindsight, I was like, "That's kind of weird," because I'm like, "I got something to show you in my room," and then she came in there. I was like, "Oh, that could have been crazy." Um, but I showed her the desk, and I was like, "Hey," I didn't show her the dresser. I just showed her the desk, and I was like, "Hey, I messed up the desk," and she was like, "I don't care." She's like, "This is cheap furniture." She's like, "You think I put good furniture in?" She's like, "It looks nice," but she's like, "It's cheap. I don't care." So, but yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice. Hey, Praveen coming through with love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad. Thank you so much, Praveen. So my moral code improves significantly as I age. That's deep. And I think I would agree with that. Because I think as we maybe let go of some of that stuff from our youth, and maybe we're more experienced and we know more, we've grown. But as we let go of some of that stuff from our youth, I think yeah, our moral code hopefully gets more honed. Unity Funk, what up, what up, what up? One day at a time. Let's go. Oh, thanks, the bird. Today you're looking good. Have you been working out? This shirt makes me look a little. I did buy like a tighter, you know, but no, I haven't been working out. What was that? What? But thank you, I appreciate that. Skyfox made it. We here. Sorry you're not getting the notifications. I don't know. YouTube has its own process with that. I don't know. I've never done caregiver work, John. I feel like that's a great field to be in these days, though. Uh, yeah, and always needed. So good luck. Good luck with the new job. Yeah, yeah, Wesley. Yeah, the internet definitely isn't real life. Yeah, yeah, it's because honestly, I'm a firm believer. Even as someone who's on the internet, I think, and I try to be as real and as genuine as possible. I'm a different person on the internet. Not, I wouldn't say in a negative way, but everybody who's on the internet, you do present a little differently than you present in real life. Or you present, even if that's not fake or whatever. For example, I rarely in real life talk about the stuff I talk about on the internet. You know, I'm not going to walk up to somebody in real life and be like, "Wound to tune, baby." You know what I mean? Like I just, when I in real life, I spend when we're having conversations like this, if they come up in real life, I typically spend more time listening to other people talk about it, and I might chime in. But I like to hear what other people have to say. So if you were to converse with me in real life, it's different. Like so, I think everybody does that, and there are some people who have no morals, totally different on the internet. Like they lie, say, "What do you mean?" Like I try to be honest, and I'm a little different. So imagine someone who has no compunction about lying, or yeah, people be totally different person in real life. Womb to Tomb Tuesday. I love that, Larry. I like that. I'm still in that. I'm still in that. Praveen, you almost lost your wallet. Uh-oh. In your bedroom. Well, that's if you're gonna lose it, that's the place to lose it. Yeah, it's which is always a weird thing. When I first realized, like, oh, I'm a different person. Because I got a good friend of mine who, my buddy Cyan, he's very good at motivating in real life. And me and him talk about that a lot because we've worked at the YMCA together, and he's a great mentor for like a lot of the younger kids there. Well, not kids, but like in their early 20s, late teens. He's a great mentor. Helps so many people. I don't be saying nothing. And it's funny because like some people might have found out about the why through my YouTube channel, so they know me. I'll go there and like some people know me, and it's always funny because like I know they're kind of expecting me to, and I just be like, "Hey, how are you?" Because it's just not me. Or I don't know. But Cyan, he's the opposite. Like he'd be the first one to be like, "All right, what are your goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you like about?" He'd be, and so many people open up to him, and he's very encouraging. I just be over in the corner cleaning, like, but I'm listening. I'm listening. But it's just like I don't know. Maybe that's the introvert in me in real life. But you know, does what make me feel bad ever, Abram? Does what make me feel bad? Hmm, hmm. Oh, I was like, what? I'm on my phone. Hey, see you later, Praveen. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you coming through, showing love. Enjoy the rest of your day off. Don't lose your wallet. Don't lose your wallet. Yeah, the bird. I'm open to dating. Yes. So like right now, I got the apps on my phone because I'm in a new. Whenever I go to a new city, I put the apps on my phone, see what's out there. I'll delete it in a couple weeks. I already know. But who knows? So I'm open to dating, um, but I don't really put too much work into finding somebody. So that's how I know I'm not really. I don't really care. Like I said, I'll get on the apps and look around, but I get bored with them. I don't really go out. I don't actively try to meet people. If I am out somewhere and I see an attractive woman, I don't say anything. So if it happens, it happens, but it's not something I'm really doubling down on. Hey, Wesley, that's cool. You're running into celebrities that are real. And I'm not saying no one's, I think some people are real in real life, but I think a lot of people aren't, you know. But yeah, I'm sure there's nice people, nice celebrities, nice influencers, there's people who are who they are. But then there's people who aren't. Um, you know, but I think as long as we realize you got to meet someone in real life to really know who they are. As long as we realize that, I think it's cool. you know. But a lot of times we just think, oh, whatever person they play on the internet or on TV is who they are, and it's not always the case. Not always the case. Pretty ladies looking for remote work so you can stay home in pajamas. I feel you. I feel you. And that's why I'm glad remote work is more popular these days because I don't see nothing wrong with that. We should be able to, stay at home if we want to and work. Like, why not? It should be an option. So Kareem got to go take that walk, 3 miles. Juliet, I don't really give out my birthday, so yeah, it's you kick around the internet long enough, you learn to the less personal information you give out, the better. So yeah, I don't really say that anymore. You know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I just realized I haven't eaten lunch yet, so I'm going there and get me some lunch. Enjoy the rest of my afternoon. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. It was a wonderful stream, wonderful topic. The numbers were good, the comments were amazing. Big shout out to the super chat squad that is love, and helped me get through another day with my amazing community here. So with our amazing community here, excuse me. So thank y'all so much. Stay hydrated, spread love. I love each and every one of y'all. Talk to y'all soon.